headline flashes across the screen. Chen Yao, senior 3 student from Zhongqing No. 1 High School, claims 10th rank in the 1-star National Destiny Secret Realm Bones Wasteland. Interview footage shows Chen Yao possesses the Card Codex Talent Gale, with his core card being top-grade White Wind Slash. News outlets predict Zhongqing will climb further in this year's rankings. Huge digital billboards across Quantity's news district loop the boastful broadcast from neighboring Zhongqing. At the center of the footage stands the principal of Zhongqing No. 1 High School, beaming with delight. A celebratory banner hung up well in advance behind him. The live stream comment section floods with scrolling bullet comments like falling snowflakes. Zhongqing is incredible. Awakened his powers only a week ago and already broke into the top 10 of the National Destiny rankings. This is a true prodigy. Quantity TV keeps airing Zhongqing's achievements. But where are our own local students? Have they all vanished? Didn't Quantity No. 1 High School hype themselves up nonstop last year? Why is everyone staying quiet this year? Show us what you've got. Inside the core conference hall of Quantity's City Lord Manor, a projection screen mounted on the wall hangs like a harsh slap to the face of every leader present. City Lord Zhou Ding sits at the head of the table, his face dark with fury. He Jianjun, principal of Quantity No. 1 High School, slams his palm hard against the table, sending tea splattering everywhere. Nonsense. That Chen Yao from Zhongqing is just a repeating senior. He's had a full extra year of cultivation compared to our first-time seniors. That old fox, Zhou Chengwen, has no shame at all. 7 or 8 city officials, alongside headmasters and teaching directors from the city's 3 high schools, fall silent like birds with their necks wrung, none daring to word a single protest. Zhou Ding drags his cold gaze away from the screen, his voice low and heavy. This year's entire senior cohort underwent unified power awakening. How many prodigies do we have in Quan City? What card codex talents and core cards have they awakened? Lu Feng, speak. Lu Feng, director of National Destiny Affairs, trembles all over, his fingers shaking as he flips open the roster. His throat parched. City Lord, 7 days ago, the Unified Awakening ceremony took place. Across all 3 Quan City high schools, out of over 1,200 students, only 6 meet criteria. Read them out. Quan City No. 1 High School, Zhao Tianlin, direct descendant of the Zhao clan. Card Codex Talent Fortification, core card top, grade White Flame Fist. Zhou Ding's expression remains blank, his tapping finger never pausing on the tabletop. Quan City No. 1 High School, Sun Qiming, collateral branch of the Sun clan. Card Codex Talent Chain Strike. Core card top, grade White Lightning Chain. The temperature in the conference hall plummets to freezing. Lu Feng forces himself to keep flipping the pages. Quan City No. 2 High School, Lin Ruodong, Heiress. Card Codex Talent Spirit Sight. Core card mid-grade White Ice Spike Spell. He Jianjun grits his teeth and cuts in. That Lin girl has exceptional perceptual vision, yet her combat arsenal is limited. Counting on her to climb the rankings is practically impossible. Quan City No. 3 High School, Wang Hao, commoner background. Card Codex Talent Endurance. Core card low-grade White Stone Shield. A low-grade white card? Can trash-tier cards like this even qualify as prodigy material? Lu Feng's face twists with bitterness. The boy only made the list due to his endurance talent. The final 2 students, Zhang Hemming from No. 2 High School, Talent Charge Strike, mid-grade White Ground Shatter Blow. Lu Wanrong from No. 3 High School, Talent Echo, mid-grade White Sonic Slash. The roster snaps shut. Over 1,200 students, merely 6 prodigies, all wielding ordinary white grade cards. Not a single peak grade white card among them. Zhou Ding's tapping finger finally stills. I will ask you all one single question. Can any of these 6 defeat Zhongqing's Chen Yao and seize back Quantity's rightful ranking spot? No one answers. He Jianjun parts his lips to speak, then slumps his head in defeat. City Lord, it's only been 7 days since awakening. Su Anmin, principal of No. 2 High School, rasps out a hoarse reply. To enter the secret realms, card proficiency must reach 50%. Otherwise, one's spirit energy cannot sustain the drain. I asked if they are capable. Zhou Ding cuts him off sharply, his sharp gaze piercing every person in the room. Su Anmin falls silent instantly, and the principal of No. 3 High School buries his head against his chest. Zhou Ding slowly rises to his feet, and the overwhelming aura of a 4-star card master crashes down over the entire hall. Quantity's National Destiny ranking has declined for 3 consecutive years. The Higher Alliance has cut our city's foundational resource allocation by a full 20%. If we fail to deliver outstanding results this year, the Alliance will reassess Quantity's city classification. Every single one of you knows exactly what demotion means. It means troop downsizing for the Secret Realm defense garrisons. It means when the next wave of foreign beast hordes invades, Quan City will lose its core spirit energy protective barrier. It means the city falling and all its people perishing. He Jianjun clenches his fist so tight his fingernails dig deep into his palms. I will return to school and pour double the resources into Zhao Tianlan. I will personally lead him into trial secret realms. Give me 1 month, and I guarantee. 1 month. Mockery drips from Zhou Ding's tone. Zhangcheng is champing at the bit to send a second student onto the rankings as soon as tomorrow, and you tell me you need a full month? By then, Quan City will have been trampled into the mud. He Jianjun's face drains of all color, all strength seeming to drain out of his body instantly. Zhou Ding sinks back into his chair, massaging his temples in exhaustion. Over 1,200 young students, yet not a single one capable of bearing the city's burden. The moment he prepares to issue a mandatory conscription order, boom. The ground throughout the entire manor violently shakes. A brilliant golden pillar of light surges upward from Southern District, shooting straight through the layers of cloud in the sky. What is happening? He Jianjun stares wide-eyed, shouting hoarsely against the blinding radiance. Immediately after, a grand, majestic voice resounds. Inside the minds of millions across Quan City. Congratulations to the anonymous card master of Quan City Theater. You have single-handedly conquered the entire 1-star National Destiny Secret Realm Misty Blood Valley. Clearance rating, absolute perfection. Clearance time, 13 minutes. Ranked first on the National Destiny leaderboard. National Destiny blessing descends. All Quan City citizens gain a 10% boost to Spirit Affinity. The city's spirit energy protective barrier doubles in defensive power. Crash. Every person in the conference hall leaps straight out of their chairs. Conquered the entire realm? Not breaking into top 100. Not squeezing into top 10. Complete, full conquest of the dungeon. Misty Blood Valley, a 1-star secret realm, hosts the Blood Shadow Bat King, a commander-tier boss monster deep inside. Investigate this at once. Find out who this is. Zhou Ding strides to the window, staring fixedly at the golden sky, his voice trembling with emotion. The national blessing landed solely on Quan City. This anonymous card master's official awakening registration is definitely within Quan City's borders. Lu Feng's hands fly across his terminal, tapping the device so fast he nearly breaks it. The system locked the location, Southern District. But all personal identity data has been fully concealed. He Jianjun scratches his head frantically, his mind completely blank. How can this be? It has only been 7 days since the city-wide unified awakening. Who could fully conquer Misty Blood Valley? A dungeon that elite squads of hundreds barely clear. It completely defies logic. Yet the tangible golden light of national destiny continuously flows down to merge with Quan City's land. A myth that should have been impossible unfolds right before their eyes. Zhou Ding whirls around, his gaze burning with the fervor of a hungry wolf. I issue the highest city lord's edict. Rescreen every single file of this year's awakened students, word for word. No exceptions, dropouts, students on leave, those rated as possessing worthless cards. All must be reviewed. To wield such terrifying combat power in 7 days, this is an unparalleled prodigy, capable of reshaping the entire Alliance's power structure. Quan City Number 3 High School, Senior 3 Class 3. The screen mounted at the front loops the news broadcast about Zhangcheng Number 1 High School. Teacher Lu, the head teacher, leans both hands against the podium, his face livid. Keep watching, enjoy the show. Zhangcheng's student broke into top 10 just 1 week after awakening. What about all of you? Has anyone even set foot inside a trial secret realm this past week? Silence blankets the classroom. A voice mutters softly from the back row. I went yesterday. A low-grade white skeleton soldier chased me for 3 blocks until my spirit energy hit 0 and I was teleported out. At least you managed to outrun it. The boy beside him claps his shoulder. I didn't escape. I got beaten to death and kicked out. The room falls quiet again. Teacher Lu draws a deep breath and points. Zhangcheng will almost certainly surpass Quan City in rankings. Once that happens, the city will slash our resource allocation again. Your future card materials, secret realm access slots, everything will be cut. Does this have nothing to do with you lot? It affects every single one of you. The atmosphere grows thick and heavy, like air stagnant before a violent thunderstorm. Even Zhang Dezue, the class's usual loudmouth, falls silent, staring down at his own card codex and pretending to study it. At that exact moment, boom! The golden pillar of light bursts upward from Southern District, its radiance flooding through the windows and painting the room bright gold. Congratulations to Anonymous Cardmaster for conquering Misty Blood Valley, claiming first place. National Destiny blessing granted to Quan City. The entire class freezes silent. 1 second. 2 seconds. Holy hell. Zhang Dazue leaps to his feet first, sending his chair crashing onto floor. It's Quan City's own person. Someone from our city. Conquered the whole dungeon? What does fully clearing a secret realm even mean? First place. Not top 10. Number 1. Full conquest. Chaos erupts throughout the classroom. Desks pound loudly beneath excited palms. Students grab their desk mates by the shoulders and shake them wildly, others yanking out terminals to flood feeds with messages. Several rush straight to the windows to stare at the fading golden pillar of light in the sky. Teacher Lu freezes for 3 full seconds, not noticing his lesson plan slip, and clatter onto the floor. Fully conquered. 18 years of teaching have taught him exactly what conquering a 1-star secret realm signifies. This isn't merely powerful, it's utterly unheard of. Calm down. Quiet down. Teacher Lu slams the podium 3 times, yet no student pays him any mind. He himself cannot hold back the wide grin spreading across his face. Teacher, who is it? A girl in the front row bounces anxiously in her seat. The tag says anonymous. The system marked them anonymous. A student pulls up the live leaderboard. But the National Destiny blessing landed on Quan City, so their awakening registration must be here. Only 1-star card masters can enter 1-star secret realms. A boy with glasses pushes frames up. All 1-star card masters in Quan City are either last year's graduates or our newly awakened cohort from this week. It can't be last year's seniors. Another student shoots down the idea. All graduates from the prior batch have advanced to 2-star rank. They can't access 1-star realms anymore. So the hidden powerhouse is among us, in our own grade. Could it be Zhao Tianlin? His flame fist hits extremely hard. No way it's him. He posted on his social feed yesterday complaining about struggling against a dungeon boss for hours. Conquer the whole realm? He couldn't even clear a single boss room. Speculation buzzes non-stop through every corner of the room, every student guessing endlessly at the mystery prodigy. Third row by the window. A girl with twin ponytails wiggles over like a loach and leans close to her deskmate's ear. Sun Yin. Sun Yin Yin. The girl called Sun Yin slowly turns her head, her skin pale as porcelain, round apricot eyes framed by long lashes like small folding fans. Her gaze carries an innate air of innocence whenever she looks. Right now, she stares blankly out the window at the fading golden glow in the sky, her mind completely elsewhere. Her best friend Gu Xiaoyu throws an arm around hers, cheeks flushed with unrestrained excitement. Who do you think it is? The person who fully cleared the National Destiny secret realm. Guess. Sun Yin blinks once or twice and thinks seriously. For a moment, then shakes her head. I don't know. Gu Xiaoyu falls speechless for a beat. All right then, what were you daydreaming about just now? The whole class exploded, and you didn't even lift your head. Sun Yin's gaze drifts down to the notebook open on her desk. Scrawled across the pages are messy notes. Braised pork ribs? Too greasy. Brothers looked thinner lately. Tomato beef stew? I made that last time. Coke chicken wings? We don't have any Coke at home right now. I was figuring out what to cook. For brother tonight. Sun Yin replies earnestly. Gu Xiaoyu stares at her blankly. The entire class is debating an earth-shaking achievement, and you're planning dinner recipes. Gu Xiaoyu exhales slowly and switches topics. By the way, is your brother really dropping out of school? Sun Yin's pen pauses mid-stroke. She presses her lips together, the light in her eyes dimming instantly. Aren't you going to try convincing him? Senior 3's awakening period brings tons of opportunities to intern inside secret realms. If he skips this year, what will he do? Tears prick the corners of Sun Yin's eyes. She nods once, then shakes her head again. I don't know how to talk him into it. Her voice softens to a whisper, as if afraid anyone else might overhear. Gu Xiaoyu opens her mouth to offer comforting words, yet seeing Sun Yin's dejected expression, she swallows them back down. She simply reaches out and gently ruffled the top of her friend's hair. Don't dwell on it too much, okay? Your brother's incredibly smart. He must have his reasons. Sun Yin does not reply, only lets out a quiet little Southern Quan City. Beyond the bustling skyscrapers and commercial streets of Main District, past 2 narrow alleys covered in graffiti, lies the area locals refer to as the Poor District. The buildings here stand ancient and dilapidated, walls cracked open, exposed wiring snaking across every surface. Deep within sits a store. A lopsided wooden sign hangs above the door, engraved with Sue's General Goods. The word general goods is wildly optimistic. Only a dozen different items line the shelves inside. Expired spirit spring water, dust-covered ink crystals, unbranded packs of spicy strips, plus an old spirit radio playing news broadcast of the Golden Light announcement. Full conquest of a secret realm has granted Quan City a city-wide national destiny blessing, marking the first occurrence of this feat in Quan City in 5 years. Squeak. The wooden shop door swings open. A tall, slender, young man strolls inside with lazy strides, one hand tucked in a pocket, the other clutching a cloth sack. He possesses strikingly handsome features, sharp and defined, yet a roguish grin tugs at the corner of his mouth. He tosses the sack on a counter. Fabric falls open to reveal unique materials, crystalline chunks, viscous liquids, and a shard glowing faint pale luminescence. This secret realm was such a hassle. He pulls out a wooden chair behind counter and slumps down, propping one leg over other. Whoever designed this dungeon must have a warped sense of layout, built like a labyrinth, wasted 20 whole minutes of my time. He yawns widely and glances at the pile of materials on the counter. I'll craft a few cards from these for Nian to use in her senior 3 preliminary exams. This should be enough, right? He stretches out a finger and taps lightly in midair. System. Analyze all materials. Ding. A crisp electronic chime echoes inside his mind, and a translucent pale blue interface materializes before Su Yu's eyes, visible only to him. Material analysis complete. Item name, Blood Shadow Bat King's Fong grade. Top grade white properties. Grants extreme piercing power, plus a minor lifesteal effect. Description, the prized large fangs of Misty Blood Valley's final boss, the Blood Shadow Bat King. Regrettably, the beast was knocked unconscious before it could clean its teeth, sanitized thoroughly before crafting with this material. Item name, Feral Boar Heartguard Bristles grade. Mid-grade white properties. Delivers exceptional physical durability and slight physical damage reflection. Description, the boar's last line of defensive resistance. It let out ear-splitting squeals when these bristles were plucked free. Item name, Shadow Slime Mucus grade. Top grade white properties. Offers superior elasticity, malleability, and kinetic energy storage capacity. Description, soft and springy texture. An elite crafting base material for card creation. It can also be molded into stress relief toys for relaxation purposes. Su Yu rests his chin in one hand and stares at the 3 materials deep in thought. Nian only awakened her powers a week ago. She's merely a first-tier card master right now. Her spirit energy is far too weak to sustain anything above white-grade cards. Her card codex talent is split. When casting single target cards, 3 identical projectiles split off simultaneously, though each individual projectile's power drops by 60%. As for her innate soul-bound card, Su Yu's mouth twitches as he recalls the faint pale white card she held when awakening. Water Sphere Spell. Low-grade white tier, Water Sphere Spell. Colloquially nicknamed the Water Squirt Gun. Paired with Split, it turns into a triple-barreled squirt gun shooting 3 thin jets of water at once. Its attack power is pitiful, excellent for washing vehicles, useless in combat. Her innate soul card is permanently bound to her spirit and cannot be directly enhanced for now, but I can craft a secondary card that synergizes perfectly with Water Sphere Spell. He strokes his chin, a thoughtful glint entering his eyes as he pieces together the crafting plan. Piercing damage, high durability coating, extreme elasticity, I've got it. System. Use the slime mucus as the base medium. Infuse boar heart bristles to amplify the water sphere's surface tension, then grind down the Bat King Fong's piercing attribute and blend it all into the mixture. Ding. Crafting blueprint generated, 100 success rate. Commence crafting? Start crafting. A flash of white light flickers across the countertop. The 3 raw materials vanish entirely, replaced by a single magic crystal card resting on the wood, its surface rippling with soft aquamarine luminescence. Card name, Bouncing Water Drop Imitation Grade. Top grade white effect. Launch an unassuming tiny water droplet. Upon contacting any target, the droplet bounces wildly between all nearby enemies at extreme velocity, carrying devastating piercing damage with every hit. Note, do not underestimate this tiny drop of water. When paired with certain split-type talents, it will leave foes overwhelmed by endless ricocheting strikes. Perfect, Su Yu murmurs with satisfaction. Su Yu snapped his fingers and stuffed the card into his pocket. On the surface, it looked like a harmless water-type support card, but boosted by his younger sister Su Nianyan's talent division. A single water sphere shot out and split into 3. The 3 spheres bounced wildly among hordes of monsters, piercing through targets and ricocheting again and again. The sight was spectacular, though it would make anyone with trypophobia uncomfortable. Once the monsters were dealt with, Suyu flopped back onto the rocking chair behind the counter. Sizzle. He tore open a chilled soda can with one hand and chugged down several mouthfuls, letting out a long, satisfying burp. He grabbed his phone, opened a short video app with practiced ease, and started scrolling through videos dedicated to Cardmaster tutorials. This is the life. Suyu stared up at the ceiling and sighed contentedly. In his past life, he had been a typical overworked office worker, pressured relentlessly by his boss every single day. He even had to stare at his work computer while eating takeout meals. By some stroke of luck, he had transmigrated to this parallel world where everyone trained as card masters and unexpectedly awakened the divine card crafting system. As long as he analyzed materials, he could craft all sorts of extraordinary cards with a 100 success rate. Earlier that day, he'd wandered around the Blood Mist Valley secret realm and wiped out all the monsters there just as a casual morning workout. Staying out of school really is the best. Suyu crossed his legs and swayed happily in the chair. No early mornings, no evening self-study sessions, no listening to his balding head teacher spout empty promises. Hiding away in this shabby little general store, living a laid-back life, he wouldn't trade this existence for immortality. Ding-a-ling. Brother, I'm home. The shop door swung open, and Su Nianyan stepped in, carrying a faded school bag over her shoulder. Hey, Nianyan, you're back. How was school today? Did any classmates give you trouble? Suyu didn't even lift his head, his fingers still swiping across the screen. Su Nianyan set down her school bag and walked over to the counter, hesitating to speak. Watching her brother slouch lazily in the chair, she twisted her index fingers together, her cheeks flushing bright red. Brother. What's wrong? Running short on pocket money? I've still got some here. That's not it. Su Nianyan took a deep breath, as if steeling herself for something, and looked up at Suyu with bright almond eyes. Brother, you should go back to school. Puffed. Cough, cough, cough. Suyu spat out his soda, choking violently. Why, you just said what? Thinking her brother was hurt by embarrassment, Su Nianyan hurried over to pat his back, her tone full of concern and resolve. Brother, I know you dropped out on purpose to save our late parents' survivor benefits, so I can buy white rank cards. But the third year of senior high is so critical. If you don't attend classes, how will you keep improving your abilities later on? The young girl's eyes welled up, her voice trembling. I don't need new cards. My water sphere spell works perfectly fine. If I have to, I can work shifts at the Spirit Energy Factory south of the city after school, or pick discarded magic crystal, or I can support you, brother. Suyu's eyes went wide, staring at his little sister as if she were an alien. Go back to school? He'd barely escaped the grind of compulsory education and endless overtime work in his past life. There was no way he'd go back to school now. Not ever. Waking up at 6 every morning? Sitting through tedious textbook lessons about card theory? Arguing with a bunch of immature teenagers over cheap, low-grade crafting materials? He'd rather face a horde of monsters. Hold on. Suyu cut off his sister's alarming words at once, gripping her shoulders and speaking earnestly. Nianyan, school life is far too complicated. I can't handle that environment. I get to cultivate my mind and grasp the profound truths of the world right here in this general store. Going to school would be a waste of my potential as a seasoned practitioner. But there are no buts. I'm hungry. What's for dinner? Did you make braised pork ribs? Su swiftly changed the subject. The mention of cooking. Su Nianyan's attention instantly shifted. Ribs? I'll get started right away. Brother, wait a minute. I bought fresh spare ribs today. Watching his sister rush into the kitchen, Suyu let out a long sigh of relief. That was a close call. He'd almost been forced back into school. He patted his chest and sank back into the rocking chair. Still, Suyu glanced around the run-down general store, then at his sister's faded school bag, his brows furrowing faintly. He would never set foot in a classroom again, but they still needed to make a living. The survivor benefits left by their parents barely covered basic supplies for Nianyan, a first-rank card master. Yet training as a card master drained money endlessly. Once she advanced to second and third rank later on, she would need far better materials and cards. Their meager savings wouldn't even cover a fraction of the costs. If we want a comfortable life, I need to earn more money. Suyu stroked his chin in thought. System, open my status panel. He repeated the command silently in his mind. Host, Suyu rank, 1-star card master spirit power, 100 100ths innate card scripture talent. Universal analysis unique system functions. Hidden attribute extraction. See past material appearances to draw out core traits. 2. Perfect fusion formulas. Provide 100 successful card crafting recipes. Broken card reforging. Repair damaged cards and upgrade their quality. Suyu glanced at his spirit power stat. 100 points, the absolute limit for a 1-star card master. He had cleared out the entire Blood Mist Valley secret realm earlier that day, relying entirely on the system to analyze monsters' weak points, plus a handful of basic white rank cards he'd crafted on the spot using materials found in the valley. It had been effortless, yet his rank was stuck at 1 star. To break through to 2-star, he needed to shatter his spirit power barrier. Breaking the barrier required Starlight Body Refining Elixir. A single bottle sold for 100,000 Alliance coins on the black market. Suyu felt in his pocket. All he found were 2 crumpled 10-coin banknotes. I've got a long road ahead of me. The rich aroma of braised pork ribs drifted out from the kitchen. Su Ninian carried out 2 plates, one filled with glossy braised ribs, the other with stir-fried greens, and set 2 bowls of steamed rice on the table. Brother, dinner's ready. Suyu sprang up from the rocking chair, pulled out a plastic stool, and stuffed a rib into his mouth. The meat was tender, coated in thick savory sauce. Delicious. Suyu gave her a thumbs up. Su Ninian took a bite of rice, her cheeks puffed out, her almond eyes shining brightly. Brother, have you seen the news? What news? Suyu spat out a rib bone. Someone cleared the entire Blood Mist Valley secret realm. Su Ninian waved her chopsticks excitedly. It's a 1-star National Fortune secret realm. They beat it completely. Our Spring City received a National Fortune blessing as a reward. Suyu remained unfazed and picked up another rib. Huh, sounds impressive. It's more than impressive. Su Ninian leaned closer and lowered her voice as if sharing top-secret information. The whole city's buzzing. The City Lord's mansion issued a reward notice. Suyu's movements paused. A reward notice? Exactly. Anyone who provides clues gets 10,000 Alliance coins. If someone finds the anonymous powerhouse directly, the City Lord will hand over 100,000 cash on the spot, plus guaranteed admission to the 3 top elite academies. Su Ninian grew more and more excited, her eyes sparkling at the thought of the money. 100,000 coins. Brother, if we could track them down. Cough. Cough, cough. Suyu choked on a mouthful of rice, coughing violently. Su Ninian quickly set down her bowl and hurried over to pat his back. Slow down, brother, there's plenty of food for you. Suyu gulped down cold water to steady his breathing. 100,000 coins? If he'd used his real name to clear the realm, he could have claimed that money straight away. Now the entire city was hunting for him. The officials at the City Lord's mansion didn't just want to hand out cash. They'd parade him around as a city mascot and force him to grind secret realms non-stop to boost the city's reputation. Forced labor? He'd slaved away in his past life. There was no way he'd let that happen again in this world. Over my dead body. Brother, you wander the streets every day. Have you spotted any powerful, mysterious cultivators? Su Ninian sat back down, full of hope. Nope. Suyu answered without hesitation. All I see are old Wong playing Chinese chess, and Aunt Lee selling sweet potatoes. Ah. Su Ninian's shoulders drooped in disappointment. I suppose someone that extraordinary must come from a wealthy clan. They'd never set foot in our poor district. She poked listlessly at her rice. If we got that 100,000 coins, brother could go back to school. Suyu's chopsticks froze midair. He stared at his sister's drooping head, a soft twinge tugging at his heart. Silly girl. All she cared about was finding a way to get him the resources he needed. Suyu set down his chopsticks and cleared his throat. Stop daydreaming about that stuff. Doesn't your school organize a trial secret realm trip tomorrow? Su Ninian lifted her head and nodded. Yeah, the preliminary senior high assessment. We team up in groups of 3 to head to the Breeze grasslands on the city outskirts. I'm paired with Xiaoyu, but we're still missing an attacker. Suyu reached into his pocket and pulled out a card shimmering with pale blue magic light. Slap. He slid the card across the table towards Su Ninian. Take this. Su Ninian blinked in surprise and picked up the card. Its back was etched with intricate star track patterns, and the front bore the image of a single clear water drop. The rank marker in the corner glowed brilliant white. A top-tier white rank card. Su Ninian shot to her feet, her stool scraping harshly against the floor. She held the card carefully in both hands, her voice shaking. Brother, where did you get this? This card's worth at least 50,000 Alliance coins. Suyu kept a straight face. Found it. Su Ninian's eyes went wide. You found it? Yeah, beside the trash bin at the end of the alley. Suyu told the lie without a flicker of guilt. Some spoiled rich kid must have dropped it by accident. We have to turn this into the authorities. Why bother? Suyu rolled his eyes. No name's written on it, so it's unclaimed property. You can use it for the secret realm trial tomorrow. But No buts. So you cut her off. Your talent division pairs perfectly with this bouncing water drop card. Its power will be incredible. Just focus on casting your spell tomorrow, and let the card handle the rest. Su Ninian clutched the card tightly, her eyes growing watery again. She didn't buy the story about finding it by a trash bin for a second. Her brother must have spent the last of their late parents' savings on it, or even taken high-interest loans behind her back. Brother, enough talk. Finish your dinner, then wash the dishes. Suyu stood up, stretched his limbs, and flopped back onto the rocking chair. Su Ninian squeezed the card firmly and nodded hard. She wouldn't let her brother down. Tomorrow, she'd take first place in the Secret Realm trial. She'd win the competition bonus to pay off whatever debts her brother might have taken on. After dinner, Su Ninian washed dishes in the kitchen. Suyu pulled out his spirit communication terminal and opened Lingyin, the short video platform. If he wanted to make money fast, he first needed to understand the market. He had to find the most cost-effective card crafting recipe possible in the shortest time. The screen lit up, showing the first video. A muscular man in a sleeveless top held up a blazing card. Everyone. Mid-tier white rank exploding fireball. Perfect for clearing monsters out in the wild. Only 3,000 alliance coins. Don't miss out. Suyu scanned the screen, and the system instantly generated its crafting formula. Fire Spirit Stone Powder 800 coins plus Red Copper Crystal 500 coins plus Fire Rat Blood 200 coins. Total cost 1,500 coins. Selling price 3,000 coins. A full 100% profit margin. For ordinary card crafters, carving star tracks and purifying materials carried a high failure rate, so this profit was barely enough to make ends meet. But for Suyu, the system synthesized cards flawlessly with zero failure risk. Still, only earning 1,500 coins per card was far too slow. He swiped up to the next video. A young female streamer held up a glowing white card. Shout out to my top supporter for the gift. This top-tier white rank Holy Light Heal card took me 3 all-nighters to craft, priced firm at 80,000 coins. Suyu's eyes lit up. Support cards brought massive profits. The system analyzed the card instantly. Holy Light Grass 30,000 coins plus Pure Spirit Spring Water 5,000 coins plus Light Shadow Mink Core Crystal 15,000 coins. Total cost 50,000 coins. Selling price 80,000 coins. 30,000 coins profit per card. It was lucrative, but the materials were nearly impossible to get. Major trade conglomerates held a complete monopoly over Holy Light Grass, and with only 20 coins in his pocket, he couldn't even afford a single blade of the plant. He swiped up once more to the third video. The background was a dim mine tunnel. A miner covered head to toe in cold dust ranted into the camera. Will the City Lord's mansion do something about this? The Ironhide rats in Mine Shaft 1 have multiplied out of control. Physical attacks bounce right off their shells, and magic attacks drain spirit power too quickly. I earn less mining or in a full day than it costs to buy a single armor-piercing card. Is there any card crafter out there who can make affordable, effective armor-piercing cards? I'll pay 10,000 coins for a reliable design that works on these rats. The comment section was filled with mocking replies. Nice dream. Materials with armor-piercing properties are all expensive. Cheap ones can't break their shells, and the good ones cost more than you make in months. Let's move on. Miners are stuck at the bottom of the food chain. Even corporate executives would pity them. Just hit them with an iron pickaxe instead. Free workout. Suyu stared at the screen and stroked his chin thoughtfully. Ironhide rats, extremely high physical defense, low health, and lived in huge swarms. The miner's core demand was a card that cost almost nothing to craft, consumed minimal spirit power, and bypassed heavy physical armor entirely. The requirements sounded impossible by normal crafting standards. But Suyu had the system. Search for low-cost materials with corrosive and armor-breaking traits. A pale blue hologram flickered open, scrolling through lines of information. Rotten slime mucus. Extremely foul-smelling. Carries mild acidic properties. Price, 5 alliance coins per bucket. Rusted iron nails. Common construction waste. Carries minor wound irritant properties. Price, 1 alliance coin per kilogram. Low-grade firework residue. Waste from fireworks factories. Price, 2 alliance coins per sack. A wide grin spread across Suyu's face as he looked at the 3 materials. System, simulate all possible fusion formulas. Ding. Recipe generated successfully. Card name, Tetanus Acid Splash Rank. Low-tier white rank effect. Ignites low-grade firework residue to spray a wide cloud of acid mixed with rust particles. Upon contact with Ironhide rat armor, a violent oxidation reaction instantly dissolves their defensive shells and leaves continuous corrosive damage over time. Total crafting cost, 8 alliance coins. Suyu shot upright and slapped his thigh hard. Cost, 8 coins. Potential selling price, 10,000 coins. The profit margin was unimaginable. This wasn't card crafting, it was printing money. That's it. This is the card I'll make. Top floor conference room of the Zhao Consortium. The long table was lined with executives in tailored business suits. Clan head Zhao Wuji held a thermos cup, listening to the quarterly report on Spirit Energy Mine Development. The large screen flickered suddenly, forcing a pop-up broadcast from Spring City Satellite TV in gold lettering. Congratulations to the anonymous card master who cleared the one-star National Fortune Secret Realm, Blood Mist Valley. Dead silence fell over the conference room. Zhao Wuji's hand jolted, spilling wolfberry tea all over his trousers. Ignoring the burning liquid, he slammed his fist on the table and stood abruptly. Excellent. Truly excellent. The executives exchanged confused glances. Zhao Wuji's face glowed with delight as he pointed at the screen and laughed loudly. That rascal Tianlin. I always told him to stay low profile, and he pulled off something this monumental. Going anonymous, smart move, a towering tree catches the wind. He's finally learned to be prudent. Prepare the vehicle. I'm heading home at once. Zhao Wuji shoved back his chair and strode out, radiating unbridled pride. A black Spirit Energy sedan raced through the streets and pulled up at the gates of the Zhao Manor. Zhao Wuji kicked open the front door and boomed at the top of his voice. Tianlin, my brilliant son, come out and let father look at you. On the living room sofa, Zhao Tianlin's head was wrapped in thick bandages, his left arm encased in a plaster cast. He winced in pain as he sprayed wound relief medicine on his right leg. Zhao Wuji froze mid-step. Is that get-up some hidden reward from clearing the secret realm? Zhao Tianlin lifted his head, his face crumpled with grievance. Father, I got beaten up by a flame goblin. The wild joy on Zhao Wuji's face vanished in an instant. Nonsense. You possess the reinforcement talent and the flame fist card. How could a single goblin defeat you? Zhao Tianlin's grievance deepened. It wasn't just one goblin, it was a whole horde. I hadn't even finished charging my flame fist when they swarmed and tackled me to the ground. I lost 50 spirit power points and got teleported out of the realm against my will. Zhao Wuji fell silent. He slowly unbuckled the leather belt hanging at his waist. I thought you were unmatched among your peers, yet you couldn't even beat a low-level realm monster. Father, put that down, stay back. Shrill cries echoed through the living room. Elsewhere, the Sun Clan Manor. Clan head Sun Jinting carried 2 bottles of aged fine wine and kicked open his son Sun Qiming's bedroom door. Qiming, let's raise a glass to celebrate your victory over the secret realm. His words died on his lips as Sun Jinting stood frozen in the doorway. Sun Qiming sat in front of a computer, his face covered in black soot, every strand of his hair standing straight on end, wispy black smoke curling from his mouth. Dad, what happened to you? Sun Jintian's voice trembled. Did you go dig coal mines or something? Sun Qiming wiped a palm across his sooty cheeks. Don't even mention it. I entered a secret realm today and came across a river. I thought I'd use my lightning chain to shock some fish, but the chain conducted electricity. I ended up electrocuting myself. Sun Jintian's hands went limp. 2 bottles of Lafite crashed to the ground, red wine pooling all over the floor. If it wasn't his son, then who could it be? Half an hour later, a 6-person voice call titled Jiangxing Elite Parents Group was created. Zhao Wuji spoke first. Lao Sun, stop pretending. That anonymous top player must be your Qiming. The combo paired with lightning chain was absolutely devastating. Sun Jintian let out a cold snort. Zhao, cut the sarcasm. My Qiming got zapped into a total mess and is still twitching from the shock. It's definitely your Tianlin. Zhao Wuji sighed heavily. Don't bring him up. Tianlin got beaten half to death by goblins. I just snapped a leather belt disciplining him. An eerie silence fell over the voice channel. Lin Hai, clan head of the Lin family from number 2 high school, cleared his throat. Well, it's not my Ruodong either. Her spirit sight talent made her spot a slime, and she gagged nonstop for half an hour at its grotesque appearance before logging out right away. The Zhang clan head from number 3 high school cut in. My Hemming charged his earth-splitting strike for 30 whole seconds, but the monster had long fled by the time he unleashed it. He struck nothing but empty air. The Liu clan head's tone was heavy with despair. Wanrong's resonant sonic slash triggered an avalanche in the canyon and buried her alive. The rescue team only dug her out moments ago. Dead silence blanketed the call. Jiangxing's 6 young elites, all defeated without exception. One brutalized by monsters, one self-injured by his own skill, one nauseated by a low-level beast, one wasting his ultimate attack on thin air, one trapped beneath rock slides. Every single one had failed spectacularly. Zhao Wujia's voice brimmed with profound self-doubt. If none of our kids pulled it off, then who? Could it be that repeat senior student from Spring City number 1 High last year? Lin Hai shot the idea down instantly. Impossible. I've reviewed all their files. It has to be one of our newly awakened senior 3 students from this batch. Zhao Wujia gritted his teeth. We're launching a full investigation. We'll dig up every lead to find this anonymous powerhouse. The City Lord's mansion is offering a 100,000 Alliance coin reward, and the Zhao family will add another 500,000. If we can recruit him to our side. Each elder harbored their own schemes, and they hung up one after another to dispatch their men. While the parents descended into frantic panic, the young elites were also overcome with frustration. Jiangqing Mutual Competition Senior 3 chat group, Zhao Tianlin at everyone. Guys, who pulled off that feat? Step forward so I can bow to you. I just got a harsh beating, and I'm desperate for answers. Sun Qiming, save the bow. My dad just lectured me with a leather belt, and my mind's still reeling. Who on earth was it? Lin Ruodong. Is there a chance it wasn't one of the 6 of us? Wang Hao. Could an ordinary student have pulled off such a miracle? Zhang Heming. No way. Without family resources boosting your stats, how could anyone clear the Blood Mist Valley? Even peak white grade cards barely scratched the Blood Shadow Bat, king hiding there. Lu Wanrong. Maybe a descendant of a reclusive ancient clan? Like the hidden prodigies you read about in novels? Zhao Tianlin. You've read too many stories. But I did see an extremely handsome guy lingering at the secret realm entrance today. He carried a tattered cloth sack and strolled right in without a single piece of protective gear. Could it have been him? Sun Qiming. Going into Blood Mist Valley without armor? That's not a powerhouse. That's easy prey waiting to get torn apart. The 6 teenagers racked their brains without a clue. A crushing sense of powerlessness weighed heavily on these self-assured newly awakened elites. In the slums, at the South City scrap recycling station, Suyu wore a face mask, rummaging through piles of scrap metal. Shopkeeper, how much for this heap of rusty iron nails? The one-eyed old man puffed on a dry tobacco pipe and shot him a glance. 10 copper coins a gene. How much you want? Suyu waved his hand generously. I'll take all of it, plus those several sacks of low-grade gunpowder residue stacked in the corner. The old man stared at him as if he'd lost his mind. That'll be 80 Alliance coins total. Suyu handed over a stack of crumpled paper bills, then pedaled a borrowed tricycle loaded to the brim with waste materials back to his general store. He pulled down the rolling metal shutter. Standing in the backyard amid piles of iron nails and gunpowder scraps, Suyu wore a shrewd grin. System, start production. All things analysis activated. Ultimate fusion path unlocked. Mental energy surged forth. The rusted nails and gunpowder residue hovered off the ground, invisible forces crushing and purifying them. The tetanus attribute within rust was amplified to its maximum potential, while the explosive property of gunpowder residue was perfectly extracted. The 2 streams of power converged and recombined mid-air, forming dozens of magic crystal cards glowing faint emerald green that rained down onto the table. Tetanus acid splash rank, low-tier white-grade quantity. 20 cards. Suyu picked up 1 card, brushing his fingertips across the star trail patterns etched on its surface. Materials only cost 8 coins, yet each card sells for 10,000. 20 cards net 200,000 total. First small goal, unload this entire stock at the mining district. He stuffed all the cards into his cloth sack and pushed open the back door of his store. Distant blasts of spirit energy echoed from the West Mountain Mining District. Steel rats, huh? Suyu stretched lazily against the sunset. Today I'll show you all what true suppression feels like, and the power of chemical warfare. He hopped onto the tricycle and pedaled toward the mining zone. West Mountain Mining District, Deep Excavation Pit 1. Dim spirit energy flood lamps hung from the rock walls, flickering erratically. The air reeked of acrid sulfur and thick dust. Clang, clang. Lao He stripped to the waist, gripping a fine steel pickaxe tightly as he slammed it hard against a magic crystal or vein. Sparks sprayed outward, the shock sending violent trembles through his arm muscles. He was a 2-star card wielder, but his talent was abysmally weak. His card codex only awakened the useless brute strength talent. Unable to take on any other work, he labored day in and day out underground as a human excavator. Beside him, a young co-worker named Shunzi leaned against an or cart gasping for breath. Only 18 years old, he'd failed the college entrance exam and awakened the flame conjuration talent. He'd originally planned to apply as a grill cook at a restaurant, only to get tricked into mining. Uncle, hey, let's take a break. Shunzi wiped cold dust from his face, his white irises stark against his soot-stained skin. This rock's grown far harder lately. We haven't filled half a cart all day. That greedy foreman Zhao will definitely dock our wages again. Lao He paused, wiping sweat away with a tattered towel slung around his neck. We can't stop. My wife and kids rely on my income to eat. Foreman Zhao's rules are clear: miss the daily quota, and we skip dinner tonight. He pulled a crumpled half-cigarette from his pocket and held it out to Shunzi. Give me a light. Shunzi snapped his fingers, a tiny flame flickering at his fingertip to light Lao Hei's cigarette. Lao Hei drew deep and exhaled a gray smoke ring. This line of work's becoming impossible. Mining was exhausting before, but at least it was safe. Now a pack of steel rats have appeared out of nowhere in the pits, and those beasts are utterly unreasonable. The instant his words faded, a dense rustling sound echoed from deep within the mine tunnel. The noise drew closer rapidly, accompanied by the shrill scrape of hard metal grinding against stone walls. Lao Hei's hand holding the cigarette jolted, the butt slipping to the ground. He snatched up his pickaxe, his face draining of color. Shunzi, grab your weapon. Those monsters are back. Shunzi jumped in fright, yanking a low-tier white-grade small fireball card from his waistband. At the edge of the floodlamp's glow, pairs of scarlet eyes lit up the darkness. Dozens of rats the size of full-grown hounds charged into the illuminated area moments later. Their bodies were covered in ash-gray metallic carapaces, razor-sharp claws glinting, and fangs glinting with a cold, deadly sheen. Squeak. The lead, largest steel rat let out a shrill cry, pushing off its hind legs to pounce straight for Lao Hei's face. Get back, Lao Hei roared, activating his brute strength talent. His arm muscles bulged instantly as he swung the fine steel pickaxe with a howling gust of wind, slamming it hard into the airborne rat's back shell. Clang! A deafening crash rang out. The steel axe head smashed against the rat's metal carapace, bursting into a shower of sparks. Lao Hei's arms went numb, his palms splitting open to bleed profusely from the recoil. The pickaxe rebounded so violently it nearly struck his own skull. As for the steel rat, it rolled twice across the dirt, shook off the dust, and not a single faint scratch marred its metallic backplate. It twisted its head, scarlet eyes locked on Lao Hei, almost seeming to mock him with human-like intelligence. Damn it all, Lao Hei swore loudly. Its physical defense was far too high. Raw brute force attacks barely ruffled its armor. I've got you, Uncle Hei, Shunzi shouted, channeling mental energy into his card. Fireball strike. A fist-sized ball of flame shot from the card, slamming dead center into another charging steel rat's skull. Boom. Flames exploded outward. Before Shunzi could celebrate, the fire faded. The rat only sported a few singed strands of fur, its speed undiminished as it sank its fangs into Shunzi's thigh. Ah! Shunzi screamed, kicking the rat away. 2 deep bleeding puncture wounds marred his leg. Magic attacks don't work either. Their magic resistance is extremely high, and casting cards drains so much mental energy. I only ate a single steamed bun this morning. I've barely enough spirit power left to cast spells. Shunzi clutched his thigh, wincing in agony. Retreat. Head for the safety zone. Lao Hei made an immediate call, yanking Shunzi to his feet and abandoning the ore cart to run. The rat pack screeched in wild excitement, hot on their heels. Chaos erupted throughout the mine tunnel. It was not just Lao Hei and Shunzi. Work crews across every mining face were under assault by the rat swarm. Screams, curses, and the clatter of dropped tools filled the tunnels. Dozens of soot-covered men stumbled and scrambled out of the pit, fleeing all the way to an open safe zone on the mining district's outer perimeter. A repulsion formation stood here, keeping the steel rats at bay. They could only pace along the formation's edge, baring their fangs and snarling at the miners. In the open clearing, Lao Hei dropped heavily to the ground, staring at his bloodied palms before glancing at Shunzi, whose face had paled completely from the leg wound. He slammed a fist hard into the dirt. We can't go on living like this. A middle-aged man with bandages wrapped around his head stood up, his face etched with fury. Those cursed steel rats. Their hides are as tough as city walls. My Windblade card doesn't even make a sound hitting them. You're telling me. Another co-worker chimed in. They block all physical strikes and shrug off magic spells. We'd need cards with armor-piercing attributes to stand a chance against them. Armor-piercing cards? Lao Hei let out a bitter laugh. Even the shoddiest low-tier white-grade armor-piercing card sells for 30,000 Alliance coins on the black market. We'd work an entire month mining, and still not afford a fraction of one card. Shunzi gripped his injured leg, eyes glistening with frustration. Where's the boss? Foreman Zhao promised he'd figure out a solution today. If he won't supply us combat cards, how are we supposed to mine, Mention of their boss cast a heavier gloom over the crowd. Don't hold out any hope. The bandaged man spat on the ground. That miser Zhao would rather shed blood than part with a single coin. He announced first thing this morning that purchasing cards is out of the question. It costs too much. He said we need to solve the problem ourselves, and anyone who misses today's quota loses half a month's wages. What? The crowd erupted in outrage. He's driving us to ruin. We work ourselves ragged just to scrape by. If this keeps up, we'll either get injured or starve. My wife's waiting for my paycheck just to buy rice. Anger, helplessness, and despair weighed heavy on every man. Dozens of laborers squatted listlessly on the ground, their spirits utterly crushed. They could not fight the rats, could not afford the proper cards, and their employer cared nothing for their plight, a hopeless dead end. Just as everyone sank into utter despair, ready to break down crying, a loud call cut through the silence. Step right up, don't miss out. Handcrafted masterwork cards from a professional card crafter. Solve every tough battle you face. The voice blared from a cheap loudspeaker, distorted by harsh static that echoed across the entire mining zone. Every miner in the clearing froze. Lao He lifted his head, utterly confused. What's that noise? Shunzi forgot the throbbing pain in his leg, pricking up his ears. It sounded like someone shouting about a MasterCard crafter. The loudspeaker's voice drew nearer, its sales pitch growing clearer by the second. Steel rats? Hard-shell monsters? Impenetrable defenses, massive health pools. Don't panic. Don't fear. Brand new white-grade armor-piercing miracle cards. Ignore all physical defense. Melt armor in an instant. With one card in hand. Roam the mining district unopposed. Original price 99,800 coins. Today only 10,000 coins. Zero loss, zero regret guaranteed. True battle suppression, true salvation for miners facing tough armor. The miners' eyes lit up instantly, like wanderers dying of thirst spotting an oasis in the desert. Armor-piercing cards for only 10,000 coins. 10,000 is still a steep sum, but if a few of us pool our money to buy one and take turns using it, we'll easily earn back the cost mining ore. This master crafter must be sent by the city lord's mansion to aid us struggling workers. Guys, we're saved. Let's go see where the master is. Dozens of worn laborers instantly regained their energy, their aches and pains forgotten as they twisted as one, filled with eager reverence toward the sound's source. In their imagination, a crafter capable of mass-producing armor-piercing cards would surely wear spotless spirit energy robes, ride a levitating luxury carriage flanked by bodyguards, noble and compassionate, looking down upon them from a lofty height. Amid all their expectant gazes, a rusty, beat-up second-hand tricycle creaked and wobbled into view. Creak, creak. Seated on the bike was a young man in a plain white t-shirt and full black face mask, a second-hand plastic loudspeaker strapped to the handlebars. Specialized against steel rats. Full refund, if ineffective. Complete silence descended over the clearing. Lao He stood agape, unaware a lit cigarette had fallen onto his instep and burned him. This kid was supposed to be the MasterCard crafter? Young man, are those armor-piercing cards on your tricycle, or rat poison? A cool evening wind swept across the mining district, swirling 2 scraps of cold dust across the dirt ground. Dozens of shirtless rough laborers stared rigidly at the squeaky, second-hand tricycle beneath Suyu, then at the cheap plastic loudspeaker bound to its handlebars. Lao He's mouth twitched repeatedly. He stepped forward, studying the black mask covering Suyu's entire face before letting out a long sigh. You look like you're still a Senior 3 student. Why aren't you at school memorizing card theory, running around the mining district stirring up trouble? The bandaged laborer beside him waved his hands in warning. Head home quickly. 10,000 coins for an armor-piercing card? You're trying to scam us hard-working miners. Do you have any idea how tough those steel rat shells are? Fine steel pickaxes only spark against them. Shunzi gripped his bleeding thigh, wincing in constant pain. Student, this isn't a game. People die out here. Your tricycle couldn't even knock down a goblin. Go back to campus right now. Suyu remained seated on the tricycle, unmoving. Faced with dozens of stares that regarded him as foolish, he simply lifted his right hand and snapped his fingers sharply. Snap. Open your eyes wide and watch closely, every last one of you. Suyu pulled a faintly emerald, glowing magic crystal card from his pocket. The card's surface was rough-hewn, and a sharp, acrid stench mixing cheap fireworks and rot lingered in the air around it. He hopped off the tricycle and strode straight past the safety zone's repulsion formation. Whoa, what are you doing? Lao He paled and lunged to grab him, only to snatch empty air. Come back. There are over a dozen steel rats beyond the formation. This boy's lost his senses. Every laborer panicked. Though they endured harsh hardship themselves, None could bear to watch a teenage boy march to his death. Shunzi struggled to stand, shouting, "Call the rescue team. Those beasts are charging straight for him." Swarms of scarlet light flickered to life in the darkness. Scenting fresh human flesh, 7 or 8 massive steel rats burst forth from rock fissures in a mad rush. Their ash-gray metallic carapaces glinting cold beneath the floodlamps. Squeak. The lead, largest steel rat pushed off its hind legs and launched itself airborne, razor fangs aimed straight for Su Yu's throat, less than 3 meters away. The miners could not bear to watch. Many turned their heads away. Su Yu stood perfectly still, not even fluttering an eyelid. He channeled a faint wisp of mental energy into the emerald card between his fingertips. Activate. The card shattered instantly, coalescing into a fist-sized sphere of dark green liquid. There were no earth-shaking explosions, no dazzling bursts of magical light. The moment it made contact with the rat swarm, sizzle. Low-grade gunpowder triggered a small, confined blast, sending clouds of thick, dark green acid bursting outward alongside billows of rust-tinted fumes. The next second, a skin-crawling hissing noise echoed across the entire mining district. Sizzes. Thick clouds of yellowish-green smoke billowed upward from the steel rat's metal backs. Hard metal armor that could withstand a full power strike from a fine steel cross pickaxe didn't even hold up for a single second the moment it touched the mixed acid solution. Oxidation, rot, dissolution. The tough outer shells melted into puddles of foul black water. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The iron rats let out agonizing shrieks, thrashing wildly across the ground. Yet the tetanus toxin and persistent corrosive properties of the acid gave them no chance to recover. It took barely 3 seconds in total. The 7 or 8 iron rats charging at the front dissolved entirely into bubbling green slime on the ground, bones and iron plating alike. When the wind blew, not a trace remained. Silence. A deathly hush. Inside the safe zone, dozens of miners stood gaping, jaws hanging slack as if dislocated. Old Hay's half-smoked cigarette slipped from his fingers onto his knee-length shorts, burning a hole in the fabric and sending a sharp jolt of pain up his thigh. Shunzi stared blankly at the green liquid on the ground, his eyes bulging as if ready to pop out of their sockets. Hey uncle. Shunzi's voice trembled as he pinched a chunk of flesh on Old Hay's thigh hard. Pinch me quick. Did I lose too much blood and start seeing ghosts? Ow. You brat, you're pinching my leg. Old Hay yelped in pain, and that cry finally jolted everyone out of their stunned stupor. Instant kill. Defense ignoring, absolute armor penetration, area of effect instant annihilation. This was no mere armor-piercing card. It was industrial-grade concentrated sulfuric acid washing the field. A divine card. A true divine card. A man with bandages wrapped around his head jumped to his feet, his eyes instantly glistening with emotion. The way the co-workers looked at Su Yu shifted completely. A moment prior, they'd seen him as an overconfident young fool. Now their gazes burned with more admiration than they'd ever show their own fathers. That green glow, it was hope for survival. It was the light that would let them fill their bellies. Boom. Dozens of grown men sprinted out of the safe zone at top speed, swarming around Su Yu and his rickety tricycle. Their eyes blazed bright, as if they wanted to crowd close enough to learn every secret he held. Master, I was wrong. I'm truly foolish. Sell me one. I'll pay 20,000. Master, sell to me first. I'm halfway short on my mining quota. Foreman Zhao will dock all my wages if I don't hit it today. Stop pushing. I'll transfer you the money right now. Master, QR code or cash. The crowd jostled together, banknotes fluttering and the glowing screens of spirit communication terminals flickering everywhere. Su Yu raised a hand calmly to quiet them down. Form a line, no pushing. He pulled a printed payment QR code out of the pocket of his knee-length shorts and taped it to the tricycle's handlebars. 10,000 a card, fair pricing for all. Limited to 20 cards total, first come, first served. Once they're gone, I'm heading home. Ding. WeChat transfer received. 10,000 Alliance coins. Ding. Alipay transfer received. 20,000 Alliance coins. The crisp electronic chimes echoed across the desolate mining zone, sweeter than any melody in the world. In less than 5 minutes, the 20 copies of tetanus acid splash that had cost only 8 coins each to make were snatched up by the frantic miners. Those who'd failed to grab one beat their chests in despair, nearly dropping to their knees before Su Yu. Master, will you come back tomorrow? You have to come back tomorrow. Old Hay clutched 3 cards tight to his chest like precious treasure, tears welling up in his eyes. He grabbed the tricycle's handlebar, his tone full of deep respect. Master, you're the savior of every hard-working miner in Shishan Mining District. Might we ask your honorable name? Us co-workers plan to place an eternal memorial tablet for you at the mine entrance. Suyu had just swung one leg over the tricycle, and his foot slipped hearing those words. An eternal memorial tablet? That was far too much. He was the anonymous powerhouse who'd cleared the national fortune secret realm, wanted citywide with a 100,000 coin bounty on his head, hunted by every major clan. If his identity got exposed, how would he ever relax back at his shop sipping cold soda? They'd drag him away every day to grind the secret realms nonstop. This world was far too dangerous. He needed to lay low, absolutely lay low. Suyu tugged his tight face mask into place, tilted his head to gaze at the stars at a 45-degree angle, and spoke in a deep, world-weary tone. A name is nothing but a label. If you insist on remembering something. Suyu turned, sweeping his gaze over the teary-eyed miners, and spoke each word slowly and clearly. I stand by my given name and surname without hiding them. G. Boda, Class 3, Senior 3, Kwancheng Number 3 High School. With that, Suyu pushed hard on the pedals and rode off on the battered tricycle. G. Boda, from Kwancheng Number 3 High School? Old Hay rolled the name over on his tongue, his expression filled with immense reverence. Listen to that, such a powerful, noble name. Such boundless ambition. This is what a true peerless talent is like. Dawn broke over the sports field of Kwancheng Number 3 High School. Senior 3 students lined up by class, filling the grounds from end to end. Sunlight filtered through thin morning mist, falling across the young, excited faces of the teenagers. Achoo! At the back of Class 3's line, the stocky G. Boda let loose a thunderous sneeze. He rubbed his red, itchy nose, thoroughly confused. 1 sneeze means someone's thinking of me, 2 means someone's criticizing me, 3 means I'm catching a cold. Who's going all out talking about me behind my back? A scrawny boy beside him snickered and bumped his shoulder against G. Boda's. Fat G, probably everyone found out you were staring at Class 2's class monitor yesterday, and she's venting her frustration talking about you nonstop. Cut the nonsense. G. Boda rolled his eyes and thumped his broad chest. I go by G. Boda, bold and unashamed. Everything I do is above board. Some underclass girl must be daydreaming about me instead. The scrawny boy made a gagging gesture. Up at the front of the lines, head teacher Lu marched toward the stage clutching a beat-up Spirit Energy megaphone. He tapped the microphone once. Static crackle, a shrill burst of electrical noise cut through the field, and every student fell silent instantly. Teacher Lu scanned the crowd, his face as rigid as a slab of iron. Yesterday, our city produced an anonymous prodigy who cleared the national fortune secret realm, and the whole city's celebrating. His voice rumbled low. But mark my words. That prodigy's skill belongs only to them. It has nothing to do with you newly awakened rookies. Today marks your first practical assessment after awakening your talents. The location is the 1-star Trial Secret Realm, Gentle Grassland. Teacher Lu held up 3 fingers. I'll go over the rules one last time. Listen closely. First, the monsters inside the Trial Realm are only projections. Dying there won't kill you for real, but if your health bar hits 0 and you get ejected, your spirit force will suffer severe damage. You'll be weakened for at least a full week. Don't treat this like a video game with infinite revives. Damaged spirit force leaves you unable to summon any cards at all. A collective gasp rippled through the students. A basic spirit recovery tonic cost several thousand alliance coins, far out of reach for most ordinary families. Second, any crafting materials you loot inside the realm are yours to take home, no limits based on school rules. Whatever you gather is yours to keep. Third, and most critical rule of all, Teacher Lu paused dramatically, raising his voice sharply. The top-ranked team in this entire school assessment will receive a mid-tier white grade attack card of their choice from the school's armory vault. The moment those words landed, the student lines erupted into chatter. Mid-tier white grade. Those cards easily sold for 20 to 30,000 alliance coins on the open market. For these students who mostly only owned low-tier white grade or useless scrap cards, this reward was an unbelievable windfall. Amid the crowd, Su Nyin had been counting on her fingers, calculating what groceries she could afford for dinner that night. The words mid-tier white grade and pick any card made her round apricot eyes light up like 2 small searchlights. 20 or 30,000 coins. If she took first place and sold the card, her brother wouldn't have to work himself ragged anymore. Su Nyin clenched her small fists, brimming with fighting spirit. Now, form teams of 3. Group up freely. The transmission array activates in 10 minutes. At Teacher Lu's command, the lines scattered apart immediately. Gu Xiaoyu grabbed Su Nyinyin's arm at once. Nyin, we're a fixed pair, but we need a heavy hitter. Who should we ask? Su Ninian's awakened talent was division, with the basic card water sphere. Gu Xiaoyu's talent was slow field, paired with mud trap. Together, the two made an unbeatable support duo, but their damage output was barely enough to scratch monsters. We need someone with strong attack power, Su Ninian reasoned earnestly. That way we can clear monsters fast and take first place. First place. Gu Xiaoyu giggled and pinched her soft cheek. Silly Ninian, we'll be lucky to scrape into the top 50 and pass. First place is for elites like Lu Wanrong and her group. Mid-conversation, a boy wearing brand new Spirit Energy protective gear with gelled hair sauntered over. Li Ziyu. His family ran a Spirit Spring water processing plant in the Southern District, making him a well-off rich kid who carried himself with an air of superiority around campus. Would the two lovely ladies like to team up? Li Ziyu flashed what he thought was a charming grin, his gaze fixed firmly on Su Ninian. Su Ninian wore a plain white t-shirt and jeans, her hair tied into her signature twin ponytails. No makeup adorned her face, yet her fair skin made her impossible to look away from. I awakened the energy concentration talent, and my core card is mid-tier white grade flamingo. Li Ziyu held a glowing red card pinched between two fingers, waving it through the air, his tone thick with arrogance. I can carry you two supports and clear everything easily. Gu Xiaoyu rolled her eyes and stepped in front of Su Ninian, blocking Li Ziyu's line of sight. Young Masterly, we can team up, but let's get one thing straight first. Gu Xiaoyu crossed her arms, speaking bluntly without any softening of tone. Inside the realm we each stick to our roles. You handle damage, we handle crowd control. Also, dial back that performative showboating. Don't join our team with ulterior motives, understand? Li Ziyu's jaw tightened slightly, but he quickly recovered and forced a dry laugh. You're such a jokester, Gu. We're all classmates. We ought to help each other out. Secretly, he scoffed to himself. Once we're inside the realm and swarmed by monsters, these two weak support girls will cower behind me trembling. I'll unleash my flamingo to mow down every beast, play the heroic savior, and this soft, innocent girl will surely grow fond of me. Fine, we'll team with you then. Gu Xiaoyu pulled Su Ninian back a step. What do you think, Ninian? Su Ninian's mind was still fixed on the mid-tier white grade reward card, and she paid no attention to Li Ziyu's lingering stares. She nodded hard, slipping a hand into her pocket to touch the bouncing water drop card her brother had given her the night before. Yep, we're definitely taking first place. Li Ziyu watched Su Ninian's earnest expression, his disdain growing stronger. She doesn't even own a decent combat card, and she thinks we can win first place? Truly adorably naive. No matter, with me leading the charge, I can drag them to a top 10 ranking at the very least. Time's up. Teacher Lu's voice boomed across the sports field. At the field's center, four towering spirit stone pillars blazed with harsh blue light all at once. Complex runes etched across the ground stirred to life like living creatures, forming a transmission formation over 10 meters wide. A faint scent of ozone hung thick in the air. All teams, step forward and enter in order. Students lined up and filed into the formation one after another. A flash of blue light, and each figure vanished from the field. It was Su Ninian's team's turn next. Li Ziyu walked at the front, tossing Su Ninian a confident glance over his shoulder. Stick close to me. Don't run off if danger pops up. Gu Xiaoyu squeezed Su Ninian's hand and muttered quietly beside her ear. He's so full of himself. If he slacks off mid-fight later, we'll just split off and leave him behind. The edge of Shishan Mining District. Old Ji's card shop. The rolling metal shutter was pulled halfway down. Ji Daqiang sat behind the chipped wooden counter, twisting a well-worn abacus between his fingers. His brows were knotted tight as he stared at the sales ledger spread across the countertop. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. Sales figures for several of the shop's staple low-tier, white-grade armor-piercing cards showed a big zero beside each entry. Ji Daqiang had known for ages that iron rats overran the mine tunnels. He'd rushed to contact his suppliers overnight, buying a bulk of shoddy cheap armor-piercing cards at a markup, planning to turn a huge profit off the miners. Miners lived frugally, but they valued their own lives above all else. It was common practice for several miners to pool their coins to buy one card and take turns using it. Why had every single one of them suddenly changed their minds today? Were they planning to charge into the rat swarms with nothing but their bare bodies? Ji Daqiang slammed the abacus down on the counter, pulled a crumpled pack of Hongtam Mountain cigarettes from his pocket, and stuck one between his teeth. Footsteps sounded outside the shop. Miner Old Hay walked past the door shirtless, a grimy black towel slung over his neck, humming an off-key folk tune with a swaggering stride. Ji Daqiang's eyes lit up. He grabbed his lighter and hurried outside. Brother He, finished your shift? Ji Daqiang plastered a friendly smile on his face and held out the cigarette pack. Here, have a good smoke. Old He halted, glanced at the cigarette Ji Daqiang held out, and tucked it behind his ear. Shopkeeper Ji, what's gotten into you today? Normally you fly off the handle if we haggle even 500 coins off a card's price, and now you're handing out free cigarettes. Ji Daqiang let out a nervous chuckle and leaned in, lowering his voice. Brother He, seeing how cheerful you look, didn't the iron rats cause any trouble down the mine today? I just got a fresh stock of brand new armor-piercing cards with incredible effects. I'll knock 10% off just for you. Old He waved a hand dismissively, his face filled with sarcasm. Armor-piercing cards? The garbage low-tier white-grade ones you sell don't even leave a scratch on an iron rat's plating, and you charge 30,000 coins apiece for them. Shopkeeper Ji, you've got far too greedy a heart. Ji Daqiang's expression stiffened. That's not fair. You get what you pay for. If you didn't buy my cards, how did you hit your mining quota today? Old He stood straighter, a huff of air blowing from his nostrils, his eyes blazing with fanatical reverence. We met a true master. A master card crafter came to the mining zone today. His armor-piercing divine cards are unlike anything you've seen. They ignore all defense, melt enemies in an instant, acid washes over whole swarms. 7 or 8 iron rats dissolved completely in 3 seconds, not even bone fragments left. Ji Daqiang froze on the spot. Ignores all defense? Acid area damage. Effects like that belong to top-tier white-grade or even green-grade cards, at minimum. Who would bring such high-value stock out to sell to penniless miners? Is it really that powerful? Ji Daqiang asked, half skeptical. A card like that would cost at least 100,000 coins, wouldn't it? Old He let out a cold laugh and held up one finger. 10,000. Only 10,000 coins. The master cares for us struggling laborers, practically giving them away out of kindness. 20 cards total, all snatched up in 5 minutes flat. Ji Daqiang gasped sharply. 10,000 coins? This card crafter must have lost his mind. This was market sabotage, cutthroat, unfair competition. Who on earth is this reckless fool? Ji Daqiang ground his teeth together. What's the master's name? Old He's demeanor turned solemn. He cupped both hands and bowed slightly toward the sky. The master prefers to stay anonymous, but after we begged him relentlessly, he finally told us his name. Ji Boda, Class 3, Senior 3, Quancheng No. 3 High School. A heavy silence fell over the street. The Hongtong Mountain cigarette clamped between Ji Daqiang's lips slipped onto the top of his foot. He stared wide-eyed at Old He, stunned speechless. You said who? Ji Boda. Old He answered, puffing out his chest with pride. Just listen to that name. So powerful, full of depth and wisdom. A genuine, unmatched talent. Do you know him, Shopkeeper Ji? Ji Daqiang's head buzzed with ringing noise. Quancheng No. 3 High School. Class 3, Senior 3. Ji Boda. That was his useless son, the boy who failed at everything he tried, ate more food than anyone else in the house, awakened the mere body shield talent, and whined nonstop every day begging for fancy cosmetic skins for his cards. A master card crafter? Selling divine armor-piercing cards for 10,000 coins each? Melting iron rats to slime? Ji Daqiang drew a deep breath, forcing his racing heart to calm down. Brother He, are you absolutely certain the name is Ji Boda? Did you witness the card effects with your own eyes? Don't let some con artist fool you. Scammers come up with all kinds of tricks these days. Old He flew into a rage, yanking the towel from his neck and throwing it hard onto the ground. Shopkeeper Ji, you can insult me all you want, but do not slander Master Ji's cards. I watched over a dozen iron rats dissolve into green liquid with my own 2 eyes. I grabbed 3 of the cards myself. Tomorrow during my shift, I'll show you what true, overwhelming power looks like. Old He had no patience left for the conversation and turned to stride away. I'm off home to drink and celebrate. Master Ji is the patron saint of every miner here. Watching Old He's retreating back, Ji Daqiang stood rooted to the sidewalk, his expression shifting from shock to livid fury, until his face turned black as tar. He knew his own son far too well. Craft cards? Ji Boda couldn't even tell different types of magic crystal apart. Selling cards for 10,000 coins apiece. That rascal must have gotten his hands on a batch of counterfeit garbage and come to the mining district to run a scam. Ji Boda, is it? Ji Daqiang spun and marched back into the shop, snatching a wolf leather belt hanging on the wall and yanking it taut with both hands. Crack. The belt snapped a sharp whip crack through the air. Fine, just fine. You've grown bold enough to run scams under your own surname. Ji Daqiang gritted his teeth, blue veins bulging across his forehead. Once you get ejected from the trial realm, I'll beat you until you forget the name G Boda entirely. 1-star trial secret realm, gentle grassland. Blue skies stretched overhead, waist-high green grass rippling in soft waves with the breeze. Achoo, achoo. At the outer edge of the grassland, the stocky young man sneezed twice in quick succession, the sounds echoing across the meadow. G Boda rubbed his red nose, utterly confused. Beside him, the scrawny boy slung a rusted iron sword over one shoulder and leaned in to tease him. Fat G, did you catch a cold? You can still get sick even inside a secret realm. G Boda rolled his eyes and thumped his broad chest. Quit your nonsense. I'm as healthy as can be. Eat anything with a great appetite. Someone must be thinking about me nonstop. He smoothed a lock of hair falling across his forehead in an ostentatious gesture. Really? It's definitely the class beauty from class 2. Yesterday I passed her classroom, and she stared straight at me for a full 3 seconds. She must think I look really great. The scrawny boy gagged dramatically. Cut the nonsense. She was just staring because your fly was unzipped. Jibo's face flushed bright red. He quickly glanced down at his trousers before scrambling to save face. You wouldn't get it. That's me exuding my charm. Come on, let's go find some slimes to test our cards on. The two slung their arms over each other's shoulders and headed deep into the grasslands. Deep within the breezy grasslands, Su Ninyin's 3-person squad advanced cautiously through waist-high wild grass. Gu Xiaoyu walked on the left, clutching her mud trap spell card, her gaze sharp and watchful as she scanned their surroundings. Li Ziyu led the way at the front, brand new spirit energy armor glinting brightly under the sun. He kept one hand tucked in his pocket while twirling a glowing red flamingo card between his fingers, looking utterly relaxed. Relax, ladies. There's no need to be so on edge. Li Ziyu glanced back and flashed a confident grin at Su Ninian. The breezy grasslands are only a 1-star trial secret realm. The outer areas are full of weak slimes and goblins. Even if we run into slightly stronger monsters, I can take them down with a single strike. Su Ninian said nothing in reply. She gripped the frayed straps of her school bag tightly, her clear almond eyes fixed on the grass ahead. The bouncing water droplet card tucked in her pocket sent a faint cool sensation seeping into her palm. Her brother had told her this card was incredibly powerful. She was determined to take first place. She needed the competition bonus money. Rustle, rustle. A dense sound of brushing grass suddenly echoed from the path ahead. Gu Xiaoyu froze in her tracks and lowered her voice. Something's coming, and there's a lot of it. Li Ziyu let out a scoff. No need to panic, easy points ahead. He strode forward and pushed aside the chest-high weeds blocking his way. An open clearing stretched out before them. 8 cyan-furred giant wolves, each as big as an adult wild dog, were hunched over feeding on the carcass of a horned sheep. At the sound of their arrival, the wolves lifted their heads as one. Pale emerald eyes locked firmly onto the 3 teens, thick, foul saliva dripping from their jaws. Swift gale wolves. Gu Xiaoyu's face paled with alarm. They hunt in packs. They're lightning fast and can hurl wind blades. Li Ziyu, get back. We can't fight them. Swift gale wolves were notoriously tricky monsters for a 1-star secret realm. An average senior high student would turn around and flee at the sight of just one, let alone 8 at once. Su Ninian tensed up too. She took a deep breath and slipped her hand into her pocket, pinching the bouncing water droplet card between her fingertips. If the wolves charged, she would activate her split innate talent without hesitation. Back off. Why would we back off? Li Ziyu stood his ground instead of retreating, even taking a step forward. He puffed out his chest and glanced over at Su Ninian, desperate to show off. Watch closely, Ninian. Today I'll show you what real, overwhelming firepower looks like. Spiritual energy surged at Li Ziyu's fingertips, and his mid-tier white rank flamingo card shattered in his palm. A streak of scarlet light shot skyward. Flames swirled together mid-air to form a half-meter-tall fiery bird, turning all the nearby grass yellow and brittle in an instant. Go! Li Ziyu pointed sharply forward, striking an overly dramatic pose. The flaming bird let out a shrill cry and streaked forward as a line of fire, hurtling straight for the lead swift gale wolf. Boom! Flames erupted across the wolf's back. The beast yelped and rolled wildly across the grass, a large patch of its cyan fur singed black. See that? Li Ziyu spun around, the corners of his mouth lifting as he smoothed his hairspray-stiff bangs. That's the damage of mid-tier white rank attack card packs. Stay right where you are. Let me handle all of them myself. Gu Xiaoyu tugged Su Ninian 3 steps backward and muttered under her breath. The power's decent enough, but he puts on such an over-the-top show he's bound to get hurt. Su Ninian nodded repeatedly, clinging tighter to her school bag straps. Li Ziyu kept striking cool poses when a low, rumbling wolf howl echoed from the grass ahead. The burnt wolf clambered back to its feet. While the mid-tier white rank card could pierce its hide, the blow had enraged the entire pack. The other 7 swift gale wolves bared their fangs, bloodshot veins blazing in their emerald eyes. They pushed off the ground with all 4 paws, transforming into 7 cyan blurs that circled to attack from the front, left, and right at the same time. Whoa no! All the confidence drained from Li Ziyu's face in an instant. This wasn't how the textbooks said it would go. The study materials never mentioned pack wolves in 1-star secret realms using flanking tactics. He hastily channeled more spiritual energy to summon another flamingo. But mid-tier white rank cards drained massive amounts of spiritual power, summoning a second sent beads of sweat rolling down his forehead. Boom! The second flaming bird shot out, slamming into 2 wolves on the left and forcing them to halt their charge. Yet 5 more wolves on the front and right were already less than 10 meters away. Whoosh! The alpha wolf opened its jaws wide and loosed a translucent wind blade straight for Li Ziyu's face. Li Ziyu let out a startled yelp and lost his poised stance completely, throwing himself sideways into the grass in a clumsy roll. The wind blade sliced past his scalp, shearing off a few strands of his hairspray-coated hair. Don't just stand there staring. Help me out. Li Ziyu scrambled onto his hands and knees in the mud, twisting around to shout at Su Niannian and Gu Xiaoyu. All trace of his earlier grace gone. These beasts moved far too quickly. His flamingo card only fired straight lines. It worked fine against stationary targets. But hitting these fast-moving pack monsters relied entirely on blind luck. If this kept up, the wolves would tear him to shreds. I'm on it. Gu Xiaoyu reacted instantly, her card glowing between her fingers. Mud trap deploy. The grass 5 meters ahead turned pitch black, morphing into a bubbling mire. The wolf leading the charge couldn't stop in time and sank its front paws deep into the sticky mud. Perfect crowd control. Li Ziyu tried to push himself upright to land the finishing blow. The 4 wolves behind simply leaped onto their trapped packmate's back and soared over the mud pit. The stench of the wolves' hot breath washed straight over Li Ziyu. Niannian now, Gu Xiaoyu shouted. Su Niannian's face paled, her mind going blank with panic. Acting purely on instinct, she channeled her soul-bound destiny card. Water Orb Art. Card innate talent. Split, activate. A flash of white light erupted. A fist-sized water orb materialized in front of Su Niannian. In the next heartbeat, the orb split into 3 egg-sized blue droplets that hurtled toward the wolves leaping through the air. Uft, uft, uft. 3 soft splashes rang out. All 3 droplets smacked dead center on the face of the foremost wolf. Then, the droplets burst apart. A large patch of cyan fur on the wolf's snout soaked through, water dripping off its nose. The wolf froze mid-leap for a split second. Li Ziyu, still sprawled on the ground, froze too. He watched helplessly as the wolf licked the water off its snout before raising a paw and swiping straight for his face. That's nothing more than a water squirt gun. Li Ziyu screamed internally. 1 mud trap only held a single wolf. 1 split water orb just gave a wolf a face wash. This was supposed to be support? These 2 were practically working for the enemy. If he'd known this would happen, he never would have shown off and brought 2 pure support users along. Li Ziyu threw all pretense aside, pushing off the ground to scramble backward. He cranked his brand new spirit energy armor up to full power. Screech. The wolf's claws scraped 3 glowing gashes across the armor's backplate. The brutal impact sent Li Ziyu tumbling forward face first into the dirt. We can't win this. The pack's aggro is completely broken. Li Ziyu scrambled back to his feet, his face ashen and his perfectly styled hair matted into a messy bird's nest. Retreat. Tactical withdrawal. Run for it. The second he finished shouting, he didn't even spare a glance for the 2 girls, spinning on his heel and sprinting straight for the grassland's outer edge. Gu Xiaoyu and Su Niannian weren't foolish either. Seeing how dire the situation was, they turned and fled as well. The 3 ran single file through waist-high wild grass, 2 ahead and 1 trailing behind. 8 swift gale wolves raced hot on their heels. The wolves far outmatched humans in speed, and the gap between predator and prey shrank by the second. 15 meters, 10 meters, 8 meters. Wind blades whistled toward them from behind, exploding inches from their heads and feet. Clods of dirt and shredded grass sprayed everywhere. I can't keep going, my spiritual energies completely drained. Gu Xiaoyu gasped for air, her steps slowing more and more. Li Ziyu never looked back as he sprinted in the lead. Don't stop. If you collapse, the trial will kick you out early. Severe spiritual energy exhaustion means a full week of bed rest. Su Ninian ran in the middle, her school bag bouncing against her back with every stride. The howls of the wolves and the sharp whistle of tearing claws drew closer behind her, making her heart hammer wildly in her chest. If she got ejected early, she would fail the initial exam. A failing grade meant no bonus money. Without the bonus, her brother would have to take grueling factory work and scavenge discarded spirit or… No way. She couldn't let that happen. Su Ninian fumbled one hand into the pocket of her jeans, her fingertips brushing the spirit crystal card shimmering with pale, aqua light. Her brother had found it beside a trash bin and given it to her yesterday. Bouncing water droplet imperfect. She had no other choice. Su Ninian gritted her teeth, pouring every last wisp of spiritual energy she possessed into the card. She forced her split innate talent to activate a second time. Without daring to glance back to see where the wolves were, she threw the card backward over her shoulder without looking. Do your thing, trash bin treasure card. Su Ninian's voice cracked with the shout, never slowing her pace as she grabbed Gu Xiaoyu's arm and hauled her forward. The card dissolved into a tiny speck of blue light mid-air. There were no deafening explosions, no dazzling surges of spirit energy. Only a single soybean-sized crystal water droplet materialized out of thin air. Fueled by the split talent, the droplet instantly split into 3 separate globs, each faintly streaked with blood red and dark metallic gray hues. Right behind them, the fastest swift gale wolf launched itself into the air, jaws wide open to sink its teeth into the back of Su Ninian's head. The first split droplet flew straight into the wolf's open maw. No resistance at all. The extreme piercing power forged from Vampire Bat King fangs activated in full force at that moment. Pop! A faint, wet piercing sound echoed. The droplet shot straight through the wolf's throat and punched clean through the back of its skull, trailing a thin spray of blood as it flew onward. The wolf's body stiffened mid-leap without letting out even a whimper, crashing rigidly onto the grass. The droplet that had pierced its skull did not fall to the ground. The ultra-high elasticity of shadow slime mucus and surface tension from frenzied wild boar heart fur activated the instant of impact. The droplet stretched thin as a thread mid-air, careening at an impossible angle against all logic and physics, shooting straight for the second wolf's eye. Pop! Pierced through. Bounced off. Pop! Third wolf down. At the same time, the other 2 split droplets slammed into the rest of the wolf pack. If Su Ninian's old water orb art had been nothing more than a flimsy squirt gun, these 3 bouncing water droplets functioned like self-guided sniper rounds. Pop! 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 The droplets ricocheted, wove through, and doubled back among the 8 swift gale wolves at breakneck speed. Sounds of bone being punctured, flesh tearing, and the high-pitched shriek of droplets cutting through air overlapped non-stop for 3 full seconds, loud as a string of firecrackers. Ahead of the chaos, Li Ziyu, Gu Xiaoyu, and Su Ninian still sprinted forward with their heads down. Don't look back. Whatever you do, don't turn around. Li Ziyu yelled over his shoulder as he ran. The wolves are closing in fast. Seeing them head-on will make our legs lock up with fear. Gu Xiaoyu dragged Su Ninian along, both girls gasping so hard their tongues lolled. They ran on for a few more paces before Su Ninian noticed something strange. Xiaoyu, listen. Su Ninian panted, slowing her steps slightly. Gu Xiaoyu blinked in confusion. Listen to what? The noise, it's gone. Li Ziyu skidded to a halt at the front, bracing his hands on his knees to suck in huge gulps of air. Haha, I knew it. This secret realm has a limit to how long monsters will chase you. Li Ziyu wiped a streak of muddy sweat from his face and straightened up, regaining his confident posture once more. It must have been those 2 flamingo strikes I unleashed earlier. My massive damage put the wolves in fear. Li Ziyu smoothed his rumpled collar and spun around, ready to soak in the girl's awestruck stares. See that? That's tactical plan. Tack, tack. His words died in his throat. His eyes bulged slowly, freezing him solid on the spot. Gu Xiaoyu and Su Ninian stopped running too. They followed Li Ziyu's gaze and twisted around slowly. The next second, all 3 stood utterly stunned by the sight laid out before them. 8 swift gale wolf corpses littered the grass. Every single beast bore a clean, through and through blood hole in its skull, eye, or throat. The last bouncing droplet exhausted all its momentum and melted into a plain wet stain that seeped into the soil. Li Ziyu remained rigidly rooted to the ground, his jaw hanging open. This can't be. His tongue tied itself in knots as he pointed at the wolf carcasses. What even happened here? Did a hidden elite monster wander by? Or did the secret realm's system glitch out? Gu Xiaoyu pressed a hand to her chest and let out a long breath of relief. She grabbed Su Nianyan's arm and shook it firmly. Nianyan, what card did you cast just now? Another water orb. Su Nianyan blinked blankly. She stared down at her empty right palm. I don't know. She shook her head honestly. I just threw the card out. And then, they all fell over. A single card? Li Ziyu jumped straight up, his voice cracking at a shrill pitch. You're joking me. A low-tier white-rank water orb wiped out 8 elite monsters single-handedly. Do you think these wolves are made of paper? A high-ranking instructor must have taken them out for us. Li Ziyu convinced himself this explanation made perfect sense. He cleared his throat and smoothed his shirt. It seems the school takes this initial exam very seriously, stationing powerful mentors. Gu Xiaoyu rolled her eyes hard, too drained to even bother arguing. She lifted the spirit communication terminal strapped to her wrist and tapped the screen awake. Ranks of glowing blue data flashed rapidly across the display. Gu Xiaoyu's eyes locked onto the top line, and she shuddered violently. She snatched Li Ziyu's arm and shoved the terminal screen right in his face. Open your eyes and read this. See who landed all the kills. Li Ziyu glanced down impatiently. Read what? If an instructor took them down, all the points will go to our squad anyway. Whoa. His eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. A clear line of text glowed brightly at the very top of the screen. Swift Gale Wolf 1 star times 8 eliminated. Points earned 800. Current squad total points 800. Kill contribution breakdown. Su Nianyan 100, Gu Xiaoyu 0, Li Ziyu 0. 0. The Stark 0 printed next to Li Ziyu's name blazed glaringly bright in the sunlight. 800, 800 points. Li Ziyu cried out, grabbing Su Nianyan's shoulders tightly. You killed all of them? Really you? What rank is that card? Green rank. Su Nianyan pulled away from his grip and stepped back. White rank. She pulled the spirit crystal card from her pocket. It hummed faintly as it cooled down from overuse. Pale aqua light swirled across its surface. A soft pure white glow flickered quietly at the bottom right quality marker. W white rank. Li Ziyu clutched at his hair, completely ruining his styled locks. What kind of white rank card has that level of power? Innate guaranteed piercing, homing tracking, rapid bounce damage? Any one of those 3 traits alone would sell for an astronomical price. All 3 combined on a low-tier water card? Was the card crafter out of their mind? Or do the basic laws of physics not apply here? Li Ziyu's breathing grew ragged. He stared greedily at the card in Su Nianyan's hand, burning with desperate longing. As the son of a wealthy family, he knew exactly how valuable this card was. This was no ordinary white rank spell. It was a game-changing god-tier card capable of shattering the combat limits of all 1-star spirit card users. If he could get the crafting formula for this card before the National College entrance exam, or buy mass quantities of it, his family's spirit energy processing plant could monopolize the entire low-tier spirit card user market across Spring City. Su classmate. Miss Su. Dear Nianyan. Li Ziyu's expression shifted faster than a page turning, plastering an over-the-top flattering grin across his face. Which master crafter made this card? Where did you get it? Could you pass along the crafter's contact info to me? Gu Xiaoyu stepped forward to stand between Li Ziyu and Su Nianyan, letting out a cold huff. Young Master Li, who was it that called us 2 useless pure support users holding your squad back a few minutes ago? Li Ziyu did not falter for a second, immediately slapping his own cheek. I spoke garbage. I failed to recognize your true strength. I was nothing but a fool. Nianyan, sell me this card. I'll hand over 300,000 cash right away, transfer it to you instantly. At the mention of 300,000, Su Nianyan's heart skipped a beat. That much money could buy piles of pork ribs, let her brother quit exhausting factory labor, and even get him a brand new reclining rocking chair. But Su Nianyan clutched the card tightly, tucking it deep into the innermost pocket of her jeans and covering the spot with both hands. She shook her head firmly. I won't sell it. Why not? Li Ziyu stamped his feet in frustration. Not enough? 500,000. I'll put up all my pocket money for this month and my supplement funds for next month. It wasn't made by a master. Su Nianyan looked at Li Ziyu earnestly. I can't sell it. My brother gave it to me. Your brother? Li Ziyu froze, instantly picturing the young man who lazed around a grocery store in the slums every day. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Li Ziyu waved his hands. Your brother dropped out of school. Where would he get a card like this? Li Ziyu's mind raced, and he suddenly slapped his thigh, a look of certainty crossing his face. I know who made it. Master Ji. The legendary Master Ji Boda. Gu Xiaoyu looked utterly confused. Who's Ji Boda? You're so out of the loop. Li Ziyu said confidently and explained everything. My dad got insider news from the Shishan mining area this morning. A mysterious card crafter showed up there, claiming to be Ji Boda from Class 3, Senior 3, at Quansheng No. 3 High School. This master specializes in white-grade, armor-piercing god cards. He once melted over a dozen iron rats in an instant with one. Your brother must have gotten lucky. He ran into Master Ji at the black market or the mining area and bought this card off him. Su Ninian blinked her almond-shaped eyes, confused. Ji Boda? The 180-pound boy who ate spicy strips nonstop in class? Could he really craft cards? Quit rambling. Gu Xiaoyu grabbed Su Ninian's wrist and glanced at her terminal. We've got 20 minutes left before the exam ends. You've got this overpowered god card. Let's head to the inner zone, hunt bosses, and aim for first place. Su Ninian nodded hard. The school rewarded a mid-tier white-grade card for first place, worth tens of thousands of credits. She couldn't miss that. Let's go. The two girls sprinted straight toward the depths of the breeze grassland. Wait for me. Let me tag along, ladies. I'll tank hits and carry all your supplies. Li Ziyu tossed aside his rich kid pride and scrambled after them. Outside the trial's secret realm, a 10-meter-tall spiritual projection screen stood in the center of the school playground. It displayed a live leaderboard tracking exam points for all Senior 3 teams. Several homeroom teachers sat at a long table under a canopy, each clutching a stainless steel thermos, sipping tea while staring at the screen. Old Wang, your student Wang Hao is incredible. The Class 2 teacher set down his thermos, a hint of envy in his voice. He's hit 500 points only 40 minutes in, firmly holding the top spot. Old Wang, the Class 1 teacher, beamed and waved modestly. It's nothing. He just has solid natural talent. His toughness talent slays slimes incredibly fast, though Zhang Feifei from your class is doing great too. After exchanging polite compliments, both men turned to Old Lu, who sat in the corner smoking silently. Old Lu, what's going on with your class this year? Old Wang chuckled. Not a single student of yours in the top 10? I thought your rich kid Li Ziyu had a mid-tier white-grade flamingo card, didn't he? Old Lu exhaled a cloud of smoke, his face dark. He'd watched for ages. Li Ziyu's 3-person team had 0 points after nearly an hour in the realm. He must have run into tough monsters. Old Lu mumbled to defend his class. Most creatures on the grassland are low level, but there are packs of swift blue wolves. Swift blue wolves are brutal. The Class 2 teacher shook his head. They're fast and hunt in packs. Running into a wolf pack usually ends your exam run right there. Students from Quansheng aren't that strong overall, someone sighed. Who's the anonymous expert who cleared the National Fortune secret realm yesterday? At the mention of this mysterious powerhouse, all the teachers fell quiet with deep respect. Someone with that level of strength can't be an ordinary student. Old Lu stubbed out his cigarette. Probably a kid from a powerful provincial or capital clan sent here to train. Points ticked slowly on the screen. Wang Hao's team with 560, Zhang Feifei's with 480, Lu Wanrong's with 390. The top 10 rankings were locked in, with only narrow gaps separating each team's scores. Beep! A shrill spiritual overload alarm blared from the top of the screen. Everyone looked up at once. The team ranked 88th, stuck at 0 points this whole time, suddenly shot upward. 88th, 50th, 20th, 10th, it crashed into the top 10 in a single second. In the next heartbeat, it surged past every other team, knocking Wang Hao's squad out of first place entirely. Number 1, Senior 3 Class 3 Team Su Ninian, Gu Xiaoyu, Li Ziyu, current points, 1,200. Puffed. The wolfberry tea in Old Lu's mouth sprayed all over Old Wang's face. Old Wang ignored the liquid dripping off him, slamming his palms on the table and shouting, 1,200 points, 0 points for 40 minutes, then 1,200 in 1 minute? Did they wipe out an entire wolf den? In a low basin in the inner zone of the breeze grassland, streaks of blue water droplets sliced through the air. After a series of wet splatters, 7 massive rock-armored bears crashed to the ground, lifeless. Su Ninian stood 10 meters away, cheeks flushed, clutching the bouncing water droplets card tightly in her hands. Xiaoyu, this card is absolutely amazing. Su Ninian turned, her almond eyes sparkling with delight. Gu Xiaoyu nodded numbly, too drained to make any snarky comments. This wasn't a school exam at all. It was like running a full map instant kill cheat code to farm resources nonstop. At the edge of the basin, Li Ziyu bent over, huffing and puffing as he pried magic crystals from the bear carcasses. His brand new spirit armor was caked in mud, his neat hairstyle a total mess. Nothing like the polished rich kid he usually was. We're rich. We're absolutely loaded. Li Ziyu stuffed 7 magic crystals into his backpack. Li Ziyu gazed at Su Ninian with immense gratitude. Over the past half hour, he'd fully experienced what it meant to be carried through every fight, the dead weight of the group. No matter if the monsters came alone or in swarms, light or heavily armored, Su Ninian only needed to toss out her card. One droplet split into three into 9, bouncing wildly through monster hordes and leaving piles of dead beasts in its wake. Li Ziyu didn't even bother summoning his flamingo card anymore. It would just waste his mental energy. He'd fully accepted his new role, Quansheng No. 3 High's official resource collector and pack mule. This has to be Master Ji Boda's creation. Li Ziyu thought wildly as he gathered materials. No other crafter in Quansheng could make a white-grade god card that ignores armor and tracks targets like this. He'd heard the story of the master melting dozens of iron rats with a single card in the Shishan mining area. If we can mass-produce these cards, the Li family will monopolize all low-tier card trade in Quansheng and outcompete every rival clan. Li Ziyu grew more and more excited, snorting with joy as he imagined his family's future wealth. Quit daydreaming, Li Ziyu. Hurry up, there's a goblin camp ahead. Gu Xiaoyu called out. Coming right away. Slow down. You two top players, I'll scout the path for you. Li Ziyu trudged after them, hauling a backpack stuffed with dozens of pounds of monster materials. On another stretch of the breeze grassland, a thunderous beast roar split the woods. A bloodshot, enraged wild boar charged forward like a heavy tank, barreling straight for the group. Perfect timing. Wang Hao roared, channeling his toughness talent to its maximum limit. A solid rock shield card materialized in front of him, forming a towering stone barrier. Boom. The wild boar slammed hard into the shield, the impact sending painful shocks up Wang Hao's arms. He gritted his teeth, absorbing the full blow without taking a single step backward. Now, unleash all your attacks. Veins bulged on Wang Hao's forehead as he shouted to his teammates. The two students behind him instantly unleashed Wind Blade and Fireball, striking the boar dead on. After a grueling battle, the enraged wild boar let out a final wail and collapsed motionless. Wang Hao dropped onto the ground, gasping for air, his uniform soaked through with sweat. You're incredible, Hao. The lanky teammate gave him a thumbs up, showering him with praise. The enraged wild boar is one of the hardest foes on the grassland. Your defense is the best among all Senior 3 students in Quansheng. The other teammate quickly handed him a water bottle with a warm smile. Drink up, Hao. We've hit 800 points. First place is guaranteed. Wang Hao took the bottle and chugged a big mouthful, unable to hide his smug grin. It's nothing much, Wang Hao said, feigning calm. Lu Wanrong's talent drains mental energy too fast. The grassland nearby lay in ruins. Lu Wanrong's face pale as she tossed an empty basic supplement bottle aside. Dozens of slimes ahead had been sliced to bits by her sonic slash ability. You're unstoppable, Rome. Her short-haired teammate jumped up in pure admiration. One attack clears the whole field. Our team's already hit 820 points. Lu Wanrong breathed deep to steady her frayed mental energy, a cold, confident smirk tugging at her lips. Wang Hao's nothing but a brute who only takes hits. He doesn't stand a chance against me for first place. Back at Quansheng No. 3 High's playground, only 10 seconds remained on the exam countdown, the air thick with tension. Silence hung heavy before the giant spiritual projection screen. Every student's eyes locked on the scores. The principal, discipline director, and all homeroom teachers stared rigidly at the leaderboard, holding their breath for the final results. The countdown hit 0, and a brilliant sapphire blue light flooded the giant teleportation circle in the center of the playground. As the blue glow flickered, teams of students teleported out of the secret realm one after another. Wang Hao and his two teammates stepped out first. He smoothed his messy collar and held his head high. He waited eagerly for the whole school to cheer and applaud him, ready to soak in the glory of taking first place. At nearly the same time, Lu Wanrong and her team emerged from the teleportation circle. She brushed stray hair from her forehead and lifted her gaze, locking eyes with Wang Hao. Wang Hao, you can concede defeat, Lu Wanrong said coolly, brimming with confidence. I'll be taking first place. Wang Hao let out a cold laugh, refusing to back down. Don't speak too soon. The final rankings aren't official yet. After trading taunts, they both turned to look at the crowd, expecting adoration from everyone around them. In an instant, both froze. There were no cheers, no applause, no admiring glances at all. None of the surrounding students or their own homeroom teachers paid them any mind. Every pair of eyes passed right over them, fixed firmly on the floating score screen overhead. What's going on? Unease twisted in Wang Hao's chest. He followed everyone's line of sight and spun toward the screen, Lu Wanrong turning right behind him. Their breath caught instantly, pupils blown wide, unable to believe the numbers displayed before them. The final leaderboard froze in place. All rankings clear for everyone to see. Number 3, Senior 3 Class 1 Team Wang Hao at all points, 850. Number 2, Senior 3 Class 2 Team Lu Wanrong at all points, 820. The second they saw their ranks, Wang Hao and Lu Wanrong's minds went completely blank. They'd fought to the brink of mental exhaustion for over 800 points and still lost first place. That score would have easily dominated every past year's first-tier Secret Realm exam. Who could have stolen the top spot out from under them? Stiff as statues, they slowly dragged their shaking eyes upward to the bold golden text at the very top of the board. Number 1, Senior 3 Class 3 Team Su Ninian, Gu Xiaoyu, Li Ziyu, current points, 1,800. 1,800 points, a massive gap that crushed their scores completely. Wang Hao's legs buckled, and he crashed onto the ground, stunned and bitter. Lu Wanrong's vision swam, swaying unsteadily, only kept upright by her teammates' support. 1,800. Wang Hao's voice came out hoarse and strained. Did they slay every single monster living on the entire breeze grassland? Su Ninian and Gu Xiaoyu? Lu Wanrong bit her lip hard, utterly baffled. They're pure support mages who only know Water Sphere and Mud Trap. How could they rack up 1,800 points? The teleportation circle blazed with bright blue light once more, shining over the entire playground. Amid total silence, 3 figures slowly materialized for everyone to see. Li Ziyu walked at the front, carrying an enormous backpack bulging with monster materials. He held his chest out, strutting with arrogant swagger, his chin tilted high in unbridled pride. Gu Xiaoyu followed close behind, holding Su Ninian's hand as they stepped out of the circle. More than 2,000 pairs of eyes, like floodlights, locked onto the 3 teens, and the playground fell dead silent. The principal's beard trembled with overwhelming excitement. Old Lu tossed his thermos aside without hesitation and sprinted full speed toward the teleportation circle. The sudden rush of attention made Su Ninian jump in fright. She ducked behind Gu Xiaoyu like a skittish rabbit, too shy to show her full face. Her hands clutched her best friend's shirt tightly, only half her soft round face and clear almond eyes peeking out. Why's everyone staring at us? Su Ninian asked softly, utterly confused. The principal's face flushed bright red as he shoved the disciplined director out of his way and marched forward. Ziyu. Excellent boy. The principal seized Li Ziyu's hand and shook it vigorously. 1,800 points. You've broken the all-time exam record for Quan Chung number 3 high. Your flamingo card must have carried the whole team. You've brought such honor to our school. Old Lu stood beside him, grinning from ear to ear with immense pride. I always knew Li Ziyu had hidden talent. The City Education Committee will definitely send our school an official commendation for this result. Wang Hao sat slumped on the ground, jaw clenched tight, filled with overwhelming resentment. Lu Wanrong shut her eyes, unwilling to watch Li Ziyu soak up all the spotlight, heavy disappointment weighing on her heart. Li Ziyu wobbled as the principal shook his hand, his cheeks burning bright red. On any normal day, he'd gladly soak up all the praise and play the hero. But vivid memories of the secret realm flashed through his mind, and he couldn't take credit for a single bit of the victory. Wolf packs and rock bears had all been instantly wiped out by Su Ninian's card. He'd only collected materials and hauled bags. He hadn't landed a single attack, nothing more than a passive tag-along who got carried through everything. Li Ziyu pulled his hand back sharply and stepped backward, rushing to clear up the misunderstanding. Principal, Teacher Lu, you've got it all wrong. Completely wrong. The principal stared in shock. Wrong? Is there a mistake in the system's point tally? The points are correct, but I didn't contribute anything. I just carried supplies. Li Ziyu gestured to his heavy backpack. Su Ninian took down every monster and earned all those points. I didn't lift a finger to fight. Silence blanketed the playground, a light breeze swirling fallen leaves across the empty space. Every gaze turned to the timid Su Ninian, following Li Ziyu's pointing finger. Su Ninian shrank backward, clutching Gu Xiaoyu's shirt tighter under all the staring eyes. Old Lu's jaw hung open, completely stunned beyond words. The principal's eyes widened, glancing back and forth between Li Ziyu and Su Ninian in confusion. You're saying Su Ninian carried the whole team? She's only a water element support mage. Li Ziyu paid no mind to everyone's shock, his only thought tracking down the legendary card crafter. He spun around, scanning the lined-up Class 3 students quickly until he spotted his target. At the very back of the group, the plump G. Boda sat munching spicy strips from a package. He ate happily, bright red spicy oil smearing his lips and fingertips. Li Ziyu's eyes lit up with pure admiration, pushing through the crowd. Master, Li Ziyu marched up to Ji Boda and shouted at the top of his lungs. Ji Boda's hand jolted, half a spicy strip slipping to the ground. Before he could react, Li Ziyu grabbed his oil-slicked hand and squeezed it firmly. He paid no mind to the greasy residue covering his palms, his gaze burning with fervent admiration. Master Ji, it's such an honor to meet you. I never knew you hid your incredible skills so well. I've underestimated you. Ji Boda stared blankly, utterly confused by the scene unfolding before him. He glanced down at his oily hands, then back at Li Ziyu's overexcited expression, full of questions. Are you feeling all right, young Master Li? Ji Boda tried to pull his hand free, but couldn't. Buy your own spicy strips if you want some, don't grab mine. And why are you calling me master all of a sudden? Li Ziyu lowered his voice, winking knowingly, certain he'd uncovered Ji Boda's secret. Quit pretending, master. My dad told me everything about the Shishan mining area, and the iron rats you melted instantly. That overpowered god card Su Ninian has was definitely crafted by you, wasn't it? Ji Boda froze, confused. What god card? He had no clue what Li Ziyu was talking about. When he got bored in class, he only drew anime characters and cartoon girls on discarded blank cards. Could this rich kid have taken a fancy to his hand-drawn card sketches? He'd never guessed the usually aloof wealthy teen was a secret anime fan, and a flicker of pride swelled in his chest. Ji Boda puffed out his chest, a smug grin spreading across his oily round face. I didn't think you'd have such sharp eyes, young Master Li. You figured out my little hobby. Li Ziyu trembled with excitement. The master had openly admitted it. Truly a sage hiding among ordinary students. Even eating spicy strips carried the aura of a legendary craftsman. Master, would you sell the cards you craft? Name any price. I'll pay without a second thought. Li Ziyu waved his arm grandly, determined to buy as many handmade cards as he could. A thought popped into Ji Boda's head. His random doodles could actually earn money? This rich kid was far too easy to impress. Deal. Of course I'll sell them. I'll bring you several top-tier pieces tomorrow. They'll blow your mind. With bright, vivid artwork, too. Ji Boda slapped his chest and vowed confidently. You have my word. Master, please accept my bow. Li Ziyu almost dropped to his knees right then and there. All the class 3 students around stared in complete shock. Skinny Monkey nudged Ji Boda's waist. Fatty, what nonsense did you feed him? Why is he willing to buy those lousy drawings of yours? Cut it out. This is artistic resonance. You wouldn't understand a thing. Ji Boda licked the spicy strip grease off his fingertips, brimming with pride. A short distance away, the principal and teacher Lu had surrounded Su Ninian. Student Su, is what Li Ziyu said true? Teacher Lu's voice trembled, filled with utter disbelief. Su Ninian nodded. How did you pull that off? The principal pressed urgently. I just tossed a card out, Su Ninian replied honestly. What kind of card can score 1,800 points? Teacher Wang, head teacher of class 1, cut in sourly from the side. Ninian, can you show us that card? Teacher Lu rubbed his hands together, speaking with extreme caution. Su Ninian hesitated for a moment. She reached into her jeans pocket and pulled out the bouncing water droplet. A pale aquamarine glow swirled across the card's surface. A faint white halo flickered gently in the bottom right corner. The principal was advanced in years, yet possessed a sharp eye. The instant he laid eyes on the orbital patterns etched into the card, his pupils shrank violently. This pattern. The principal snatched the reading glasses from Teacher Lu's pocket, slipped them on. Silence fell over the entire area. Only the principal's increasingly ragged breathing could be heard. His chest heaved wildly, his expression shifting through countless conflicting emotions. A perfect closed loop, seamless integration, 100% spiritual energy conduction efficiency. The principal shot his head up abruptly, his voice loud enough to echo across the whole sports field. This is undoubtedly the work of a master card crafter. Teacher Lu jumped in fright. Principal, this is a white grade card. At most, it's the work of an intermediate card crafter, right? Nonsense. Normally gentle and refined, the principal swore outright on the spot. You don't know the first thing about this. To squeeze every last trace of potential out of white grade materials and carve orbital lines without a single flaw demands terrifying mastery over spiritual power and unparalleled material analysis skill. The principal took a deep breath, sweeping his gaze across every person present, his tone deadly serious. The crafter capable of making a white grade card this flawless is at minimum a blue-tier master, possibly even higher. A blue-tier master card crafter. The moment those words left his mouth, a collective gasp rippled through the crowd on the sports field. Card crafter rankings correspond to card colors: white, green, blue, purple, orange, red, gold. A blue-tier master meant they could forge blue-grade cards. In the entire city of Quancheng, there were barely a handful of even green-tier crafters, let alone blue-tier masters. A blue-tier master was a top-tier talent that even powerful aristocratic clans in the provincial capital would fawn over and treat with the utmost reverence. Wang Hao collapsed onto the ground, completely defeated. Losing to a card forged by a blue-tier master meant his loss was well-deserved. Lu Wanrong bit down hard on her lip, saying not a single word. Teacher Lu swallowed hard and turned to Su Ninian. Ninian, where did you get this card? My brother gave it to me, Su Ninian answered. Does your brother know a blue-tier master? Teacher Lu's eyes lit up, pressing for more details. My brother said he found it next to a trash bin, Su Ninian repeated earnestly, reciting what Su Yu had told her the night before. The crowd was left utterly dumbfounded. Finding a blue-tier master's card beside a trash bin? Was their trash bin sitting right outside the provincial capital's auction house? The principal cleared his throat and waved a hand to quiet everyone down. Student Su, keep this card safe. Do not lose it under any circumstances. Your brother must be trying to conceal the master's identity. We fully understand, rest assured. The principal's mind spun up an elaborate backstory unprompted. Su Ninian's older brother had dropped out of school to study under a reclusive blue-tier master. Quancheng No. 1 High School absolutely had to cling to this invaluable connection. Teacher Lu. The principal waved his arm loudly, booming with energy. The initial assessment is officially concluded. Take student Su to the school's armory. As first-place reward, she may pick any item she likes. Su Ninian's eyes lit up instantly. Mid-tier white-grade cards sold for tens of thousands each. Come along, Ninian. Wrinkles crinkled all over Teacher Lu's face as he grinned, far warmer to her than he'd ever been to his own daughter. Su Ninian clenched her small fists and followed Teacher Lu toward the teaching building, with Gu Xiaoyu trailing behind them. 10 minutes later, the heavy metal doors to the school armory creaked open slowly. A thick, rich aura of spirit energy washed over them. Rows of display cabinets held glowing crystal cards shimmering with faint light of all hues. Teacher Lu surged grandly at the central display case. Ninian, you may choose any mid-tier white-grade attack card in here. The principal's orders, take whichever catches your fancy. He folded his hands behind his back, gesturing at the glowing crystal cards lined up inside. Ninian, look at this one. Teacher Lu pressed a button on the side, and a tray inside the cabinet rose slowly into view. Mid-tier white-grade blazing slash, with a persistent burn damage effect. Its attack power ranks among the top 3 for cards of this tier. Paired with your split talent, it'll wipe out crowds in an instant. Su Ninian stared at the card through the glass, blinking without a flicker of excitement. Thinking she disliked fire element cards, Teacher Lu hurried over to the next cabinet. Then take a look at this, Gale Barrage, wind element, with an extremely rapid fire rate. And this one here, Frost Spike, which slows enemies on impact. Teacher Lu rambled on non-stop, drawing on every bit of card theory knowledge he'd accumulated over the years. Su Ninian stood rooted to the spot, her gaze sweeping across the cards, growing more confused by the second. She understood nothing of orbital patterns or elemental synergy. All she knew was the water droplet card her brother gave her worked incredibly well. Teacher Lu's throat went dry from talking, and he paused to sip water from his thermos. So which one do you pick? The principal said you can choose freely today. Su Ninian swallowed hard. She lifted her clear almond eyes and spoke softly. Teacher, which one sells for the highest price? Uft. Teacher Lu spat out his wolfberry tea straight onto the glass display case. Ninian, you can't pick a card based solely on its market value. The priciest option isn't always the best fit for you. You need to factor in talent compatibility and spiritual energy consumption. Those are the key to growing stronger. Su Ninian dropped her head, twisting her index fingers together nervously. But her voice was quiet, tinged with sorrow. If I sell the most expensive one, I can buy lots of pork ribs for my brother. He's gotten so thin lately. Dead silence descended over the armory. Teacher Lu's mouth hung open, all his carefully prepared card theories stuck fast in his throat. In 18 years as a head teacher, he'd seen students who'd stop at nothing to grow powerful, and others who'd empty their savings just to show off. But a student who wanted to sell a priceless rare card to buy ribs for her brother? This was a first. Gu Xiaoyu, standing at the back, pressed a palm to her forehead. Li Ziyu's mouth twitched nonstop. Teacher, student Su has a point. Li Ziyu spoke up. The ultimate purpose of cards is to improve one's life. Leave the pricing to me. My family runs a spirit energy processing plant. I know market rates like the back of my hand. Li Ziyu leaned forward against the cabinet, his eyes darting quickly over the cards inside. Blazing Slash goes for 32,000 on the market, Gale Barrage 28,000. His finger landed on a faint purple-tinged card tucked in the far corner. This one, Wrath of Thunder, an area of effect lightning attack card. It's notoriously difficult to craft. Black market buyers will pay 45,000 for it. Pick this one. At the mention of 45,000, Su Ninian's eyes lit up brilliantly. She nodded hard. Okay, I'll take this one. Teacher Lu sighed, swiped his staff access card to unlock the glass case, and pulled out the card. He handed the Wrath of Thunder to Su Ninian. Gu Xiaoyu stepped in front of Li Ziyu, arms crossed over her chest, chin tilted up slightly. Young Master Li, let's settle our accounts clearly. Every monster in the secret realm was taken down single-handedly by Ninian. You didn't land a single blow, isn't that right? Li Ziyu nodded rapidly. Absolutely. I was nothing more than a loot collector along for the ride. Therefore, Gu Xiaoyu poked a finger at Li Ziyu's shoulder. All crystal materials dropped in the secret realm, plus the 3 mid-tier white-grade reward cards our squad earned today, all belong to Ninian. Do you have any objections? Instead of complaining, Li Ziyu broke into an extremely bright grin. Classmate Gu, you're thinking far too small. He waved a hand grandly. I'll pay 100,000 in cash to buy all 3 reward cards and every piece of material you collected. Saves you the hassle of hunting down buyers on the black market. Gu Xiaoyu froze. She prepared a whole speech to fight for their share of the rewards, and Li Ziyu's absurd generosity completely threw her off balance. At the mention of 100,000 yuan, Su Ninian's cheeks flushed bright red. Deal. Su Ninian agreed instantly, terrified Li Ziyu would change his mind. Li Ziyu pulled out his spirit communication terminal and transferred the money on the spot. Ji Boda had promised to bring him artwork tomorrow, and he was in an excellent mood. The sun dipped low, and the school dismissal bell rang out across Quan Chung No. 3 High School. Ji Boda slung his backpack over one shoulder, humming an off-key pop song as he strode out the school gates with unbridled confidence. He was in fantastic spirits today, clutching a new pack of spicy wheat sticks. He munched away as he replayed the scene on the sports field that afternoon in his head. Li Ziyu, the renowned wealthy heir of the Li family who usually looked down his nose at everyone, had shaken his hand tightly in front of the whole class and called him master. A kindred spirit, Ji Boda murmured, tilting his head back to gaze at the sky with genuine emotion. Drawing anime female characters was his one and only hobby. Twin-tailed Sundara Lolis, long-legged elegant ladies, all sketched with his crude hand-drawn lines. His classmates all mocked his messy artwork, saying he wasted crystal materials on meaningless drawings. Only Li Ziyu had seen the artistic soul hidden beneath his marker strokes, and was even willing to pay a hefty sum to buy his work. Young Master Li truly appreciates art, Ji Boda thought contentedly. Tomorrow I'll draw a limited edition seaside swimwear collection for him. I can't let his trust go to waste. Ji Boda walked 2 blocks and reached the old neighborhood on the edge of Shishan Mining District. Straight ahead stood his family shop, Old Ji's Card Emporium. He swallowed the last bite of spicy wheat stick, tossed the empty wrapper into a roadside trash bin. Screech. The shutter lifted halfway. No lights were on inside, leaving the space dim and shadowy. Ji Boda ducked and stepped into the shop, greeted by a thick stench of cheap tobacco smoke. Ji Daqiang sat in a wooden chair behind the counter, his figure swallowed by shadows save for a glowing cigarette tip flickering on and off in the darkness. Ji Boda shuddered all over. He knew this atmosphere all too well. It was exactly how his father acted every time he flunked an exam or snuck money from the shop to spend on online games. Oh no, Ji Boda's heart sank. Did Dad already find out I scored 0 on the initial assessment? The report cards haven't even been handed out yet. He swallowed nervously and shuffled forward a couple steps. Dad, I'm home. In the dark, Ji Daqiang crushed his cigarette, but into an ashtray. He stood slowly and grabbed a 7-wolf leather belt resting on the counter. He tapped the metal buckle sharply against the wooden surface. Ji Boda's knees buckled, nearly sending him to the floor. Dad, hear me out. The monsters in the breezy grassland secret realm were brutal today. I've got a tank talent, and my teammates couldn't hold their own. There was no way I could take all the hits. Ji Daqiang said nothing, stepping forward out of the shadows. Deep emotion twisted across his weathered face. 3 parts fury, 3 parts cold disdain, and 4 parts gritted teeth rage. He gripped both ends of the belt and pulled it taut. Crack! The leather whip cut through the air with a deafening snap. Ji Boda dropped to the ground instantly, hands clamped over his head. Ji Boda. Ji Daqiang's voice turned icy, each word ground out between clenched teeth. My MasterCard crafter son has come home. G. Boda huddled in the shop corner, arms wrapped tight around his head, his round body shaking like a sieve. Dad, can we talk this through calmly? Modern education bans corporal punishment. It's illegal. Modern education? Ji Daqiang let out a bitter laugh, cracking the belt through the air once more. Today I'll teach you a lesson you won't forget. Crack. The first blow landed squarely on G. Boda's padded rear. I'll teach you to call yourself a master crafter. I'll teach you to sell worthless scribbles for 10,000 apiece. I'll teach you to scam people out in the mining district. G. Boda scrambled across the floor in a panic, his head ringing with confusion. Dad, you've got the wrong person. I spent the whole day getting beaten up in the secret realm. I never set foot near the mining district at all. You dare lie to me? Ji Daqiang flew into a greater rage, kicking G. Boda hard in the backside. Lao He ran all the way here just to congratulate me. He said the artist goes by G. Boda, senior class 3, Quansheng number 3 high school. No alias, no hiding. G. Boda froze. The name and class matched exactly, yet he truly had never been to the mining district. A thought suddenly flashed through his slow mind. That afternoon after school, the wealthy heir Li Ziyu had grabbed his hand, calling him a master non-stop and offering to buy his drawings. Could Dad and Lao He be talking about the same thing? Dad, I get it now. G. Boda spun around, messy hair sticking up as he yelled. When I'm bored in class, I draw anime female characters on discarded cards, elves in sheer flowing robes, demon ladies in elegant silk gowns. Young Master Li loves this style, and he's going to commission exclusive special art from me tomorrow. This is artistic creation, not scamming anyone. Silence fell for a split second. Ji Daqiang froze mid-swing, the belt suspended in the air. He stared wide-eyed at his son, crumpled and tearful on the floor. You draw robed demon ladies on discarded cards? Yeah. Thinking his father finally understood, G. Boda nodded eagerly. Young Master Li said this art style is exactly what he's been looking for, and he wants custom exclusive illustrations tomorrow. I'll beat this useless nonsense right out of you. Ji Daqiang completely lost his temper, swinging the belt so fast it blurred. You waste your days on trivial, meaningless drawings. You even drag your classmates into this foolishness. You've brought total shame to the G family name. Crack, 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 crack. The rhythmic crack of the leather whip echoed through the card shop, mixed with G. Boda's ear-splitting wails that carried far down the street. Outside the shop, miner Lao He wandered past after drinking 2 bottles of rice wine, half a roast duck dangling from his hand, his face flushed red with alcohol. He paused at the commotion, furrowing his brow. Old G's temper is still as fiery as ever. Lao He pushed open the rolling shutter and ducked inside. Shopkeeper G, what's all this ruckus about? Slurring his words from drink, Lao He set the roast duck down on the counter and grabbed Ji Daqiang's wrist to pull him back. The boy just did poorly on his assessment. A talking to's enough. Don't beat him half to death. You'll only end up paying medical bills. Ji Daqiang gasped for breath, his chest heaving wildly. He pointed at G. Boda curled into a bruised ball on the floor, seething with anger. Lao He, you couldn't have shown up at a better time. He tossed the belt aside and gestured at his son. Take a good look. Tell me this is the master crafter you mentioned from the mining district. Lao He blinked in confusion. He let out a wine-fueled burp, squinted his eyes, and leaned in to study G. Boda's face closely. G. Boda lifted his head miserably, one eye swollen black and blue, his right cheek puffed up. He looked utterly pitiful. Lao He glanced from G. Boda back to Ji Daqiang, then slowly shook his head. You've beaten the wrong boy, shopkeeper G, he said, looking disgusted at the round figure on the floor. How could this chubby lump be the great Master G? Ji Daqiang went rigid. He stared from Lao He to his son, his mind going completely blank. You said his name was G. Boda, senior class 3, Quansheng number 3 high school. Rubbish. Lao He slapped his thigh, his voice booming. The name's G. Boda, all right, but the master stands 185 centimeters tall. He rides a tricycle and carries the air of a sage who cares nothing for wealth. Look at this blob on the floor. He's nothing but fat, not a trace of a master's bearing anywhere. Ji Daqiang stood there dumbfounded, staring between Lao He and his son, his mind completely short-circuited. Ji Bo burst into tears at Lao He's words. Wah! Ji Bo wailed loudly, his cries 100 times more miserable than when he had just been beaten. Dad, I told you it wasn't me. I've been framed. Ji Bo slammed his palms against the ground, sobbing his heart out. I can't even cast a low-tier white-grade fireball spell. How on earth would I make armor-breaking cards? Who's the rotten scoundrel going around pretending to be me to swindle people? I hope all he gets when he buys instant noodles is just the seasoning packet. and never any toilet paper when he needs it. Slum District, Sue's general store. Squeak. The wooden door swung open. Su Ninian hopped inside like a cheerful little sparrow. "Brother, I'm back." The girl's clear, crisp voice echoed through the grocery shop. There was no reply. The rocking chair behind the counter sat empty, with a half-empty can of sparkling soda left on the small side table beside it. Su Ninian wrinkled her tiny nose. "Humph. Normally you can't be dragged out of here, but today you're nowhere to be seen." She set her faded school bag on the counter and carefully unzipped it. Neatly stacked inside were 10 bundles of brand-new Alliance coins. 100,000 credits. Staring at the huge sum of money, her clear almond eyes crinkled into 2 tiny crescent moons. Li Ziyu had transferred the money without hesitation, and she'd rushed straight to the bank to withdraw cash right away. Only holding physical money gave her that solid sense of security. With this money, brother won't have to work grueling shifts at the mining camp anymore. We can buy loads of delicious food. Su Ninian knelt down, pulled open the bottom drawer of the counter, and took out a rusty metal box. She stacked the 10 bundles of banknotes neatly inside, closed the lid, fastened 3 copper padlocks on it, and tucked the keys close to her body. Once she finished, she let out a long breath, her face glowing with pure happiness. Tying on her small floral apron, Su Ninian walked into the back kitchen. "I bought 2 gene of pork ribs and prawns today. I'll make braised pork ribs and braised prawns and soy sauce for brother." As she rinsed the vegetables, the girl hummed an unrecognizable tune and muttered to herself. "You weren't here to greet me when I got back, so I'm docking 10,000 credits from your allowance at dinner." She dumped the ribs into a pot to blanch, waving her spatula in the air. "No, 20,000. For running off without a word." The girl's happiness was simple. Money, ribs, and her brother. At the same time, Southern Spring City, second-hand card market. Locals called this place the card graveyard. Narrow streets were lined with street stalls. Tattered cloth sheets held piles of discarded cards, incomplete magic crystal materials, and contraband of unknown origins. Suyu walked steadily down the center aisle with his hands clasped behind his back, his aura calm and confident, a thick black mask covering most of his face. Ding. Weak stardust energy detected at the stall to the left. Core material intact, restorable to mid-tier white-grade Gale card. Ding. High-purity fire magic crystal fragments found inside the sack on the right. Can be refined and fused into top-tier white-grade burst flame essence. Ding. Discarded energy storage card, 3 meters ahead. Internal structure partially intact, can be reforged. Deep within the second-hand card market, Suyu strolled forward unhurriedly, hands tucked in his pockets, the black mask hiding most of his features. Ding. Discarded iron rhinoceros horn at the stall ahead. Contains trace earth elemental origin force inside. Reforgable into top-tier white-grade defense card. Ding. Dried stargrass rhizomes in the sack to the right. Extract residual essence to refine a bottle of low-grade starlight body refining liquid. Suyu paused in his steps. Stargrass rhizomes. He was currently a peak 1-star card tamer, his mental power stuck at exactly 100 points. To break through to 2-star, he needed starlight body refining liquid to shatter his cultivation barrier. A genuine bottle sold for 100,000 Alliance coins on the black market. Suyu turned and walked over to the stall on his right. The stall owner was a gaunt old man leaning back in a folding chair, smoking a dry tobacco pipe. He didn't even lift his eyelids when Suyu squatted down. Suyu rummaged through a pile of discarded magic crystals on the stall, picking out a cracked fire crystal, then grabbed a half-turtle shell fragment beside it. The turtle shell felt rough in his palm, its edges scorched black from fire damage. Discarded rock turtle carapace, struck by high-tier fire spells in the past. Surface layer damaged. 80% of internal earth formation runes remain intact. This was his second main target for coming here today. His little sister Ninian was far too innocent. Ranking first in the entrance exam had put her in the spotlight, and that would inevitably draw unwanted attention. Her split talent paired with bouncing water droplets dealt explosive damage, yet she herself was extremely fragile. He had to get her a top-tier defense card, preferably one with a counterattack effect. "Shopkeeper, how much for this fire crystal and broken turtle shell?" Suyu hefted the 2 items, his tone casual. The old man exhaled a cloud of smoke and glanced over. The fire crystal's cracked, but it still holds residual spiritual energy. You could grind it down to make a lighter. The turtle shell's scrap armor material. 500 total. Without a word, Suyu set the items back on the stall and turned to leave. "Hey, young man, hold on." The old man quickly sat up straight. "I set a high price first. You can bargain. Name your offer." Suyu stopped and glanced back, holding up 2 fingers. 20. The old man's eyes widened. nearly dropping his tobacco pipe. 20? You're practically robbing me. This fire crystal used to be worth 10 credits. Suyu's voice was flat, unchanging. The old man's mouth twitched, and he waved his hand through gritted teeth. Fine, fine. Take them. First sale of the day. I'm taking a loss here. Suyu pulled 2 crumpled banknotes from his pocket and tossed them over, slipping the fire crystal and turtle shell fragment into his bag. His gaze drifted to the tattered sack bedside the stall. Shopkeeper, I'm particular about neatness when I buy things. Can I use that sack of dried roots to carry these? Don't want to dirty my pockets. The old man glanced at the sack full of worthless dried stargrass roots, trash he'd picked up from a medicinal market scrap collection yesterday, something no buyer wanted. Take it, take it. He waved his hand irritably. Suyu lifted the sack and vanished into the crowd. Beneath his mask, the corners of his mouth stretched wide into a grin. For 10 credits, he'd bought the core material to break through to 2-star, plus the base material for a top-tier defense card. This wasn't finding a hidden treasure bargain. This was restocking supplies. Half an hour later, Suyu returned to the Slum District General Store carrying the full sack of materials. The moment he pushed open the door, a rich aroma of braised pork ribs washed over him. Su Ninian walked out of the back kitchen carrying 2 plates of food, wearing her floral apron. Her clear almond eyes curved into crescents the second she spotted Suyu. Brother, you're home. She set the dishes on the table, wiped her hands on her apron, and hurried over to the counter. Carefully, she lifted the rusty metal box from under the counter and slammed it down on the tabletop. Look, brother. Su Ninian opened the box. 10 bundles of brand-new Alliance coins sat neatly stacked inside. Next to the cash lay a magic crystal card glowing faint purple. Suyu set down his sack, pulled out a plastic stool, sat down, and picked up chopsticks to take a bite of ribs. The meat fell off the bone easily, savory and well-seasoned. Where'd you get all this? Suyu asked as he chewed. Su Ninian puffed out her chest, hands planted on her hips, brimming with pride. First place prize money from the entrance exam. 100,000 credits. She leaned close to Suyu, chattering excitedly about her brilliant feats inside the secret realm. Brother, you have no idea how powerful that card you made me is. 8 swift green wolves attacked me, and I flicked out water droplets that zipped straight through every single one of them. And those rock-armored bears with their thick hides? The droplets burrowed right into their heads when they hit. Li Ziyu and Gu Xiaoyu were completely stunned watching. Su Ninian grew more animated the more she spoke. Her cheeks flushed bright red. Suyu scooped up a mouthful of rice, his expression calm. He knew exactly how powerful the card he'd crafted was. Combining the surface tension of wild boar hides, the extreme bounce of slime, and the piercing power of Shadow Bat Kings, those weren't mere water droplets. They were enchanted armor-piercing projectiles. Brother, Su Ninian suddenly fell silent, resting both elbows on the table and staring straight at Suyu. Suyu shifted uncomfortably under her gaze and set down his chopsticks. What is it? Su Ninian pointed a finger at the 100,000 credits inside the metal box, her tone deadly serious. We have money now. This 100,000 is more than enough to pay school tuition and buy tons of basic spiritual supplements. She took a deep breath and dropped her big news. Brother, come register for school with me tomorrow. Go back to class. Suyu froze mid-motion. His mind raced, internal alarm bells blaring at full volume. Go back to school? Wake up at 6 every morning. Sit in a classroom listening to balding teachers ramble on nonsensical card crafting theories? Fight with a bunch of immature kids over pitiful scraps of cultivation resources? Not a chance. Suyu leaned back against his stool, folding his arms across his chest with a solemn expression. Ninian, you're oversimplifying this. Su Ninian blinked in confusion. What do you mean? Suyu nodded toward the stack of cash. This money was earned with your life on the line inside the secret realm. How could I, as your older brother, comfortably spend your hard-earned reward on my own tuition? Su Ninian grew anxious. I don't mind risking myself, as long as you get to go to school. Let me finish. Suyu cut her off, his voice deep and earnest. Schools are nothing more than arenas for fame and profit. Do you think paying tuition lets you study in peace? Wrong. They're filled with children from powerful clans who get all the best resources handed to them. If I drop back in as a returning student, I'll be targeted, isolated, even thrown into dangerous missions as cannon fodder. Suyu spoke more smoothly as he went on. Besides, your brother is a once-in-a-generation genius. I observe the universal truths right here in this store. Going to school would only shackle my unparalleled talent. Su Ninian blinked repeatedly. She suspected her brother was talking nonsense, but she had no proof to call him out on it. But tears welled up at the corners of Su Ninian's eyes. Mom and Dad made us promise before they left that you'd get into a tamer university no matter what. Seeing her teary look, Suyu pulled out his trump card at once. He reached out and ruffled the top of her head, softening his tone. Ninian, I promise you I'll take the university entrance exam, just not high school right now. There's still half a year until the national exam. I guarantee I'll meet all the requirements before then and take the exam directly. You keep this money to buy materials and raise your mental power. Su Ninian was thoroughly confused by Su Yu's smooth reasoning. She glanced back and forth between the money and her brother's utterly sincere face. Really? Swear you'll meet the standard before the exam? I swear. Su Yu held up 3 fingers. Su Ninian finally relented. She closed the metal box, carried it back under the counter, and locked it tight once more. If you lie to me, I'll cook bitter melon stir-fried meat for you every single day. Su Yu let out a quiet sigh of relief. Crisis averted. Late at night, the general store's rolling metal shutter was pulled shut tight. Su Ninian had fallen asleep in her second-floor bedroom, steady, soft breathing drifting down the stairs. Backyard on the ground floor. Su Yu sat before a worn crafting workbench. A dim spirit energy desk lamp lit the table surface. He unloaded the sack of materials he'd bought that day. Dried stargrass rhizomes spilled out across the wood. System, extract stargrass essence and filter out all impurities. Command confirmed. Universal analysis activated. A pale blue light screen unfolded across his field of vision. Intangible mental power acted as precise scalpels, slicing through the pile of dried roots. The withered rhizomes weathered away into a pile of gray-white powder before his eyes. Suspended in the center of the powder was a single soybean-sized drop of emerald liquid, glowing with brilliant stardust light. Refining complete. Obtained. High-purity starlight body refining liquid miniature batch. Note, though the volume is small, its purity is extremely high, more than enough to shatter the 1-star mental power barrier. Without hesitation, Su Yu drew the liquid drop into his mouth with a breath. A cool wave of energy rushed down his throat straight into his mind. A dull boom echoed deep within his mental domain. The mental power barrier that had lingered fixed at 100 points shattered completely. His mental power value surged upward without pause. 110, 150, 200. The number only stopped climbing once it hit exactly 200. 2-star card tamer achieved. Su Yu clenched his fists, reveling in the full, abundant power flowing through him. Refreshing. He turned his gaze to the other 2 items laid out on the table. The cracked fire magic crystal and the discarded rock turtle carapace. Ninian had drawn everyone's attention by taking first place in the secret realm today. Tall trees catch the wind. His little sister's defenses were paper thin. He had to fix that critical weakness. System, simulate fusion formulas. Ding. Discarded rock turtle carapace, earth element, plus cracked fire magic crystal fire element equals. Fusion formula generated. Construct defensive layers using earth formation runes as the base. Fill rune nodes with fire elemental energy to create a counterattack circuit. Success rate, 100. Let's get to work. Su Yu channeled his newly advanced 2-star mental power, hovering both palms above the materials. Perfect fusion sequence, activate. Charred impurities flaked off the turtle shell layer by layer, revealing the intact yellow earth runes hidden underneath. The fire magic crystal shattered mid-air in a burst of crimson energy dust. Guided with pinpoint precision by the system, the red dust flowed like liquid. Golden yellow and scarlet light swirled, merged, condensed, and compressed in midair. A magic crystal card radiating heavy, sturdy energy slowly took shape. Name, Absolute Defense, Lava Counterplate Grade, Top-Tier White Grade Effects. Activate to summon a close-fitting rock shield capable of blocking a full-strength strike from an equal-rank opponent. The moment the shield breaks, all absorbed kinetic force converts into a wide-ranging lava splash, dealing true fire damage to all enemies within a 3-meter radius. Note, the best defense is burning everyone who hits you to ash. Su Yu pinched the card between his fingers, the corners of his mouth twitching. You call this a defense card? This is basically a suicide trooper's gear. Still, its effects were absolutely outstanding. With this card to protect her, Ninian would easily survive any encounter short of a 3-star monster. Stowing the card away, Su Yu leaned back against his chair, resting a hand on his chin as he pondered his next moves. He'd earned 200,000 credits selling Acid Splash of Tetanus at the mining camp today. Money came fast, but the method was far too risky. Operating without official certification carried severe legal penalties under Alliance law. I need a legal, recognized professional identity. Take the primary card crafter certification exam. Su Yu tapped his fingers against the tabletop. With official recognition as a white-grade card crafter, he could take crafting commissions openly and legally, plus gain access to discounted materials exclusively for crafters through the Crafters Association. Most importantly, certified card crafters held high social standing. Even the city lord's office would treat him with respect if they looked into his affairs. That's a solid plan. I'll craft 2 or 3 slightly powerful cards to use as portfolio samples too. Suyu nodded to himself internally. His showcase cards couldn't be overwhelmingly overpowered, only marginally stronger than average. Being 1 step ahead of the crowd marked you as a genius. Being 10 steps ahead would get you dragged away for forced research and dissection. Steady and low-key was the way to go. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the shop windows. Su Ninian carried 2 bowls of steaming noodles out from the back kitchen. "Brother, breakfast's ready." Suyu yawned as he descended the stairs from the 2nd floor and pulled out a chair to sit down. Thud! A dark red card landed on the table, sliding to rest right beside Su Ninian's bowl. Su Ninian chewed on her chopsticks and glanced down at the card. Top-tier white grade. Her eyes blew wide open. "Brother, did you pick this up from a trash can again?" "Yep." Suyu lied without a flicker of guilt, slurping a mouthful of noodles. "Search the trash bins in the wealthy southern district this time. Rich folks live there, so the odds of finding top-tier cards discarded are way higher." Su Ninian fell silent, lost for words. She suspected her brother was mocking her intelligence, yet she had no way to prove it. Su Ninian lifted the card, feeling the warm energy radiating off its surface. "This is a defense card? MHM. Keep it tucked close to your body. Squeeze it hard if you're in danger, it'll save your life." Suyu swallowed his noodles. "Remember, if you meet someone you can't beat, activate the shield and run straight away. Don't stop to look back." Su Ninian nodded firmly, carefully tucking the card against her chest. Anything her brother gave her was always utterly reliable. After breakfast, Su Ninian slung her school bag over her shoulder and left for class. Suyu changed into a clean casual outfit, locked up the store, and strolled leisurely toward the city center. Spring City, Crafters Association Branch Hall. A grand building blending futuristic technology and spirit energy aesthetics. Floor-to-ceiling glass walls glinted brilliantly under the sun. The lobby was kept cool by powerful air conditioning. Everyone walking through wore tailored suits or the long official robes marking certified card crafters. Suyu stepped into the hall in a plain white t-shirt and faded jeans, hands stuffed in his pockets. His casual attire stuck out like a sore thumb. To the right side of the lobby stood the exam registration counter. Suyu walked straight over and came to a stop before the desk. Behind the counter sat a young woman in formal business wear, bent over inputting data into her spirit communication terminal. "Excuse me." Suyu tapped lightly on the countertop. The receptionist girl looked up and put on a professional smile. "Hello, how may I assist you? I want to sign up for the assessment." Suyu spoke in a calm tone. "Understood. Which assessment would you like to register for? The Card Crafter Apprentice Certification or the Basic Material Identification Test?" The receptionist pulled up the registration form as she asked. In her mind, a high school student this young would only come for an apprentice certificate. "Neither." Suyu shook his head. "I'm here to take the white-tier card crafter exam." Silence fell over the area at once. The receptionist's fingers froze mid-air above the keyboard. She lifted her gaze and scanned Suyu's far too young face twice. "You are certain you want to sit the white-tier card crafter assessment?" "I'm certain." The receptionist took a deep breath and maintained her professional demeanor. "Please present your identity document and apprentice qualification paperwork." Suyu handed over his ID card. "I don't have an apprentice certificate. I taught myself everything." The receptionist swiped the ID across her terminal. Suyu's file popped up on the screen. Name, Suyu. Age, 18. Education, Quantity number 3 high school, Senior 3 dropped out mentor. None card crafting experience. None. The receptionist's eyes widened little by little. She glanced at the word dropped out on the screen, then back at the unruffled Suyu standing before her. An 18-year-old dropout high school student. No master to guide him. No apprenticeship at any card crafting workshop. He walks straight into the Card Crafter Association and claims he wants to test for white-tier card crafter credentials. Did he have any idea how low the pass rate is for this exam? Did he know even top students from prestigious university departments wait until their 3rd year to dare attempt this assessment? The receptionist's professional smile completely crumbled. She slid the ID card back towards Suyu, the corners of her mouth twitching uncontrollably. "Mr. Su, are you joking with me? Are you joking with me?" Lin Xiaoxiao, the receptionist, wore a rigid professional smile, her mouth twitching nonstop. She had worked this post for 3 years. She'd seen overachievers hauling stacks of review materials to take certifications. upperclassmen forced to retake exams after harsh scoldings from their tutors, and noble young masters escorted by bodyguards going through the motions for show. But an 18-year-old dropout with no workshop experience, claiming to self-teach card crafting and signing up for the white tier exam? She did not know what to make of this. Suyu stuffed both hands into the faded denim pockets of his jeans, his tone earnest. I'm not joking. I really know a little about making cards. A little. Lin Xiaoxiao Network drew a deep breath, trying to talk the reckless teenager down with rational logic. Mr. Su, the card crafter assessment is not a game with beginner protection rules. Hands-on crafting consumes genuine, expensive magic crystal materials. She tapped twice on her keyboard to pull up the payment page and turn the screen towards Suyu. The white tier card crafter assessment costs a 2,000 Alliance coin registration fee, plus an 8,000 Alliance coin material fee, totaling 10,000 Alliance coins. No refunds will be issued regardless of whether you pass or fail. Lin Xiaoxiao leaned back against her chair and crossed her arms. 10,000 coins. For a dropout living in the southern slums, surviving on survivor benefits, this was an astronomical sum. She was certain this figure would snap the boy out of his reckless impulse, and he would sheepishly turn around and take the public transit home. Suyu said nothing. He silently pulled out a second-hand spirit communication terminal with 2 cracked screen corners and smoothly opened the scan code function. Beep. The camera lined up with the payment QR code on the counter. WeChat transfer received. 10,000 coins. A crisp, emotionless automated female voice echoed through the spacious, quiet lobby of the Card Crafter Association, lingering in the air. Lin Xiaoxiao remained frozen mid-crossed arms posture, her gaze darting repeatedly between the payment successful prompt on the terminal and Suyu's unperturbed face. He actually paid? Without a single flinch? Were dropout teenagers this financially capable these days? I've completed payment. Suyu shook his phone slightly. When does the exam start? Lin Xiaoxiao jolted back to reality, her cheeks flushing bright red. She fumbled wildly across the keyboard, nearly knocking over her coffee mug. Please wait a moment. I will notify the examiners right away. She pressed the red communication button on her desk, her voice trembling. Exam Hall 2. We have a candidate applying for the white tier card crafter assessment. A slightly elderly, lazy voice came through the communicator. Understood. Send over the candidate's paperwork. We'll head there immediately. 3 minutes later, laughter and conversation drifted down the corridor beside the lobby. 3 examiners in silver-gray card crafter robes walked side by side. The elder white-haired man walking in the center wore a badge glowing with 2 streaks of green light on his chest. Senior Examiner Old Zhang, a mid-grade green-tier card crafter. To his left stood a middle-aged man with gold-rimmed glasses, and to his right a slightly plump young man. Zhang, what a surprise to see someone signing up for the white tier exam bright and early today. The plump young man rubbed his hands with a grin. I'd bet it's that young master from the Zhao clan. Word says he apprenticed under Master Li last month. It's about time he came to breeze through the assessment. The man with gold-rimmed glasses pushed up his frames, speaking with certainty. Not necessarily. It might be the recommended top student from Quan City No. 1 High School. Without a renowned master backing you, who'd waste 10,000 coins for nothing? Old Zhang stroked the stubble on his chin, his tone carrying the weariness of long experience. When I took my white tier certification exam all those years ago, I spent 3 years breathing dust beside my master's crafting furnace. Young people nowadays have far superior resources and a higher starting point. Still chatting, the 3 rounded the corridor corner and spotted Suyu standing by the reception desk, dressed in a plain white t-shirt and ripped jeans. Old Zhang's smile faded instantly. He turned to Lin Xiaoxiao. Xiao Lin, where's the candidate? Lin Xiaoxiao swallowed hard and pointed towards Suyu. Old Zhang, this is him. The 3 examiners turned as one, their gazes sweeping over Suyu like searchlights. No expensive spirit energy protective gear. No attendants bearing clan emblems. Not even a specialized briefcase for crafting materials. This was the candidate. Old Zhang strode quickly to the counter, snatched up the tablet, and scanned the electronic file. Suyu, 18 years old, dropout, no mentor. Old Zhang's blood pressure spiked instantly. He whipped around to stare at Suyu, his beard bristling with anger. Boy, who is your master? I have none, Suyu answered truthfully. You taught yourself? The plump young man's eyes bulged as if he'd heard an absurd joke. Something like that, Suyu nodded. The man with gold-rimmed glasses let out a cold scoff and slammed his thermos flask down hard on the counter. Young people these days truly treat card crafting like a trivial game. Read a few basic textbooks, scroll through a couple short videos online, and suddenly you think you're a genius? 10,000 coins could be put to far better use instead of coming here to seek empty validation. Old Zhang waved a hand to cut off the bespectacled man's reprimand. He fixed a stern gaze on Suyu. The association has strict rules. Anyone who pays the fee may take the assessment. We make no distinction between noble heirs and ordinary common folk. But the exam standards are extremely rigorous. We will not go easy on you simply because you lack formal training. Old Zhang turned toward exam hall 2. Follow me. Suyu shrugged, hands tucked in his pockets, and strolled lazily behind the 3 examiners. Exam hall 2 was a fully enclosed dust-free chamber. A cold metallic crafting station stood at its center. 10 transparent glass vessels lined the countertop in a row. Listen closely to the rules. Old Zhang stood at the examiner's platform, looking down at Suyu. On the table lie 10 fundamental low-grade white-tier materials. Wiregrass, gray rat fur, minor spirit water crystal, low-quality gunpowder residue, and more. Exam requirements. You have 1 hour. Mix and match any combination of these 10 materials to craft 2 white-tier cards of any type. The man with gold-rimmed glasses added a remark laced with undisguised contempt. The passing threshold is simple. Your card must reach a minimum of 60% stellar orbit integrity and 50% spirit energy conductivity. Meet those standards, and you pass. If not, the exit is behind you. The plump young man shook his head and muttered quietly. This exam is far beyond his level. These 10 low-grade materials carry clashing elemental properties. Even experienced apprentices count themselves lucky if their crafting furnace doesn't fail, let alone a self-taught high school dropout. Timer start. Old Zhang pressed the red button on his desk. A countdown appeared on the giant wall screen. 59:59. Suyu stood before the crafting station, glancing over the 10 materials laid out before him. Wiregrass, gray rat fur, minor spirit water crystal, low-quality gunpowder residue. He did not begin crafting right away. Instead, he stood rooted to the spot, his brows slowly furrowing, his expression heavy with apparent anxiety. Watching Suyu's reaction, the 3 examiners exchanged a glance that Red Eye knew it would be like this. He's already intimidated, the bespectacled man sneered. He probably cannot even identify these basic materials. Wiregrass bears wood affinity, minor spirit water crystal bears water affinity. Water nourishes wood, which seems compatible, yet gray rat fur carries faint dark energy. Mix that in, and the stellar orbit will collapse instantly. The plump young man sighed. 10,000 coins wasted for a painful lesson. Quite a costly tuition fee. Old Zhang picked up his teacup and closed his eyes to rest. In his opinion, this assessment was already over before it properly began. What they could not possibly fathom was the raging storm unfolding inside Suyu's mind at that very moment. System, analyze all materials on this table. Suyu issued a command in his thoughts. Ding. Material analysis complete. Suyu stood at the station, scanning the 10 materials spread out before him. Wiregrass, gray rat fur, minor spirit water crystal, low-quality gunpowder residue. Ding. Material analysis complete. Formula 1. Wiregrass plus low-quality gunpowder residue plus minor spirit water crystal. Hidden fusion path activated. Clashing water and fire, catalyzed by wood energy craftable item. Top-grade white, annihilating water fire thunder effect. Upon detonation, unleashes a catastrophic spirit energy explosion powerful enough to level this entire branch of the Card Crafter Association. Suyu's eyes twitched sharply at the system prompt floating across his vision. Level the whole building? He'd come to take a beginner qualification exam, not act as a saboteur. If he crafted this card in front of the examiners, the city guard would lock him away. Formula 2. Gray rat fur plus minor spirit water crystal plus discarded earth crystal hidden fusion path activated. Corroding dark energy, chaotic water earth synergy craftable item. Top grade white, abyssal mud mire. Effect. Ignores all 1-star defensive barriers. Releases potent neurotoxin and permanent vision impairment, so you took a deep breath. Every recipe the system generated pushed the humble white-tier materials to their absolute destructive limits, creating monstrous cards that would draw urgent attention from provincial and even imperial research institutes the instant they were forged. This would not do. Absolutely not. A single step ahead of your peers makes you a genius. 10 steps ahead marks you as an outlier to be feared. System, recalculate new crafting plans. Suyu issued a firm mental order. Minimize overall power, lower card quality as much as possible. Only hit the bare minimum passing values for stellar orbit integrity and conductivity. I want barely functional low-grade cards, do you understand? The system panel froze for a full second, as though the artificial intelligence struggled to process such an odd request. 5 full seconds passed before the interface lit up once more. Ding. Low output, crafting recalculation finished. Half-baked Formula 1. Wiregrass plus discarded earth crystal half-baked Formula 2. Gray rat fur plus low-quality gunpowder residue, projected stellar orbit integrity. 60.01 projected spirit energy conductivity. 50.01 Suyu let out a long relieved breath. This was exactly what he needed. Precisely hitting the passing line was the pinnacle of skill for a masterful learner hiding their true ability. Back at the examiner's platform, old Zhang sipped his tea with his eyes closed. The bespectacled man let out a cold huff and turned to the plump young man beside him. 5 minutes have passed, and he hasn't touched a single material. This boy likely cannot tell wiregrass apart from ordinary weedgrass. The plump young man shook his head, wasting 10,000 coins for a harsh lesson. Youth these days lack all sense of their own limits. The words had barely left his mouth when Suyu moved. He ignored the precision purification equipment and basic rune carving tools set out on the station. He simply stretched out his left hand and grabbed a handful of wiregrass. His right hand closed around a discarded earth crystal. He clasped both hands together, surging raw spirit energy forth unrefined. Crack! The earth crystal crumbled in his grip, and the wiregrass was crushed into a pulpy green liquid. The bespectacled man shot abruptly to his feet, slamming both palms against the counter and shouting angrily. This is reckless nonsense. Wiregrass carries wood affinity. Earth crystal bears earth affinity. Wood restrains earth. Fusing them without neutralizing agents guarantees stellar orbit collapse. You are recklessly wasting valuable materials. So you paid him no heed. Guided by the half-baked fusion path the system provided, he casually traced faint energy lines between his palms. No brilliant surges of spirit energy, no resonant hum of magic crystals. 2 seconds later, Suyu spread open his palms. A dull, uneven magic crystal card had fully formed, its surface pockmarked with tiny indentations. He repeated the same crude process immediately after. Gray rat fur mixed with low-quality gunpowder residue, forcing clashing dark and fire energies together in his palms. Another 2 seconds passed, and the second card took shape. Suyu brushed the leftover debris off his hands, tossed the 2 shoddy-looking cards onto the crafting station, and lifted his gaze toward the examiner's platform. I've finished crafting. Please test the cards. Dead silence blanketed the examiner's area. Old Zhang opened his eyes, his brows knotted tightly into a single crease. The bespectacled man trembled with rage. 10 minutes. You spent 10 minutes mashing worthless scraps into 2 lumps of rock. This is an insult to the sacred profession of card crafter. Test the cards, Suyu repeated evenly, his tone unchanged. Very well. I will make you face the truth. The bespectacled man stormed down from the platform, snatched the 2 cards off the counter, and marched to the automatic testing machine beside the wall. He jammed the first card roughly into the slot and slammed the red test button hard. Beep. The machine whirred to life, scanning beams sweeping across the card's surface. The bespectacled man folded his arms, waiting for the automated test failed announcement to ring out. Old Zhang and the plump young man stood and watched with cold, judgmental eyes. The next instant, a glaring green indicator light lit up atop the testing machine. A mechanical electronic voice echoed through the dust-free chamber. Testing complete card classification. Low-grade white wood earth composite shield card stellar orbit integrity. 60.01 spirit energy conductivity. 50.01 verdict. Passed. The bespectacled man's body stiffened completely. His arms fell limply to his sides. He stared unblinkingly at the precise numbers on the screen, his eyes bulging wide. Passed? Is this broken machine malfunctioning? Refusing to believe the result, he ripped out the first card and shoved the second crude fur and gunpowder card into the testing slot. Beep. Testing complete card classification. Low-grade white dark fire detonation card stellar orbit integrity. 60.01 spirit energy conductivity. 50.01 verdict. Passed. You could hear a pin drop inside the chamber. Only the quiet hum of the machine's cooling fan lingered in the air. The bespectacled man stood agape, swallowing hard with visible difficulty. The plump young man rubbed his eyes, stepped forward 2 paces, and stared at the identical, razor-thin passing values on the screen, a chill crawling up his spine. Old Zhang's teacup slipped in his grasp, hot tea splashing across the back of his hand. One passing result could be written off as blind luck. 2 consecutive passing cards, with perfectly matching values balanced right at the threshold? This was deliberate score control. forcing stable energy flow from clashing low-grade raw materials. Crafting cards bare-handed without any specialized equipment, and calibrating every stat to hit the absolute minimum passing line. This required an unfathomable depth of understanding of material elemental properties. Old Zhang's gaze towards Su Yu shifted entirely. All disdain and arrogance vanished, replaced by stunned horror, as if staring at some unthinkable monster. Can I receive my certification now? Su Yu kept his hands tucked in his pockets, breaking the heavy silence. I need to head home for lunch soon. Old Zhang drew a deep breath, suppressing the massive shock roiling inside him. He strode down from the platform, pulled a blank official qualification card embossed with the association's steel stamp from his pocket, scrawled his signature across it in one swift motion, and pressed the chief examiner's seal firmly onto the document. He held the card out to Su Yu with both hands. Mr. Su, congratulations. As of this moment, you are a registered Alliance beginner card crafter. Old Zhang's tone turned exceedingly polite, even tinged with quiet awe. Su Yu took the certification card, glanced at it briefly, and slipped it into his pocket. Thanks. He turned, pushed open the dust-free chamber door, and stepped outside. Back in the main lobby, receptionist Lin Xiaoxiao was scrolling short videos on her terminal. Only 15 minutes had passed since Su Yu entered the exam hall. Purifying materials alone for the white tier assessment normally took a minimum of 30 minutes. He's probably already been scolded and sent out by the examiners, Lin Xiaoxiao thought to herself. Footsteps drew near. Su Yu walked up to the reception counter and tapped twice on the desktop. Lin Xiaoxiao lifted her head and donned her standard professional smile. Mr. Su, don't be discouraged if you failed the assessment. Consider it valuable experience FO. Her sentence cut off mid-word. Su Yu pulled the brand new beginner card crafter qualification certificate from his pocket and waved it in front of her face. The official steel stamp glinted under the overhead lights. Old Zhang's signature crisp and clear. Farewell then. He turned toward the main entrance, his figure carrying an air of effortless ease. Lin Xiaoxiao froze rigid in her seat. She clearly recognized the official certification card. 15 minutes. He had actually passed. An 18-year-old high school dropout had earned his white tier card crafter credentials in just 15 minutes. Lin Xiaoxiao clapped a hand over her mouth, her mind going completely blank. Inside Exam Hall 2's dust-free chamber, long after Su Yu's departure, the three examiners still stood rooted before the testing machine. The bespectacled man's face was ashen pale. Old Zhang, this defies all logic. What restrains earth, dark energy corrodes fire. These are fundamental textbook rules. How could he fuse two sets of conflicting elemental properties while keeping the stellar orbit intact? Old Zhang said nothing. He picked up a high-magnification magnifying glass and carefully lifted the wood-earth composite shield card between his fingers. He held the card beneath a powerful lamp, pressed his eye to the magnifier, and examined every inch of the stellar orbit patterns woven inside the card. As he studied the intricate lines, a fine layer of cold sweat broke out across Old Zhang's forehead. Zhang, what's wrong? The plump young man noticed his strange demeanor. Old Zhang set down the magnifying glass, his hands trembling faintly. We've all been blind this entire time. His voice came out hoarse and strained. He never neutralized the clashing elemental energies at all. No neutralization? Then how did he link the stellar orbit together? The bespectacled man pressed urgently. He used sheer brute force suppression. Old Zhang pointed to the card's outer edge. He channeled an immense reserve of spirit energy to forge a vacuum isolation barrier between the wood and earth properties, then used trace impurities from the discarded earth crystal as a bridge to complete the full energy circulation loop. Old Zhang lifted his head to face his two colleagues, his eyes wide with dread. This technique is never covered in standard textbooks. It's the fourth-dimensional spatial composition method. He deliberately sealed away the card's full potential to lock its power at the bare passing standard. If he removed that isolation barrier, Old Zhang swallowed hard. This single card would transform into an immensely destructive explosive. The bespectacled man and plump young man exchanged a horrified glance, their scalps prickling with unease. Just who exactly is he?